Hello and happy Saturday, everybody. It is February 8th, 2025. And this is the Agree to Disagree show. Special time. Woohoo! Weekend time. We're going to
Yeah,
talk.
Brian only had you're slacking this week. I think you only had 7 live shows. So this is number 8. All right.
Was that the number? I don't know. I'm losing track. I'm loving the TNAM AM show. I know at some point I might end up changing the schedule around to do an evening hang. I know that's maybe your speed as well, but I'm loving the first thing in the morning because I used to spend that time scrolling and finding the news and doing research. And I'm like, why don't I just unpack the news with everybody each day and scrolling through it? It's been pretty great, actually. I've been enjoying it. But thank you everybody for finding us on this weekend. Blake being the trooper that he is, full of energy. Welcome to the program. I'll tell you what, you want to just jump into the news, Blake? Any introduction needed? How are you? How do you do? How was your evening last night? It sounded eventful.
Yeah, I went to a little get together in Nashville and had a few old fashions, and they were a little funky, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what's wrong, but anyway, I was a little hungover today.
It happens, man. A little food when you get back, a little hydration along the way. It's a combination of hydration while we're consuming. What I've been doing lately is I will keep I will get whatever I get, usually maybe something on the rocks, a modified old fashioned minus the fanciness and the $8 upcharge. And then I'll just get soda water. I'll get soda water with lemon lime, squeeze some lemon, squeeze some lime, and I kind of balance it. And I keep that hydration going, and that usually helps. That's one of my.
Yeah. I had my 3 old fashions kind of right away, and then I drank club soda for a couple of hours.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of sobered up. Then I drove, didn't eat anything. That was a mistake. But then part. I didn't think I'd feel that bad, but it was like, wow, I legitimately feel sick. But anyway, I'm coming along.
Well, let me ask you this: do you have Taco Bells that actually stay open late now? Because I feel like late night food used to be everywhere, but maybe they can't staff it anymore. I don't know. I've tried to go to Taco Bell several times in the past 5 years. It's just not the same place. It's not open late night like it used to. I feel like the world has changed. I think society peaked in 1997 or 2000, maybe.
And it's one of those things I do miss about Las Vegas living there is that you never had that issue. There was just so many 24-hour food all the time, so I never had to think about it. But yeah, living in a normal town where things close at 10 o'clock, it's a little different.
Yeah, it's sort of for the birds, I think. But Nashville's different from where you were. I mean,
Nashville's still open later. I mean, it's not Vegas, but it's still open to 3 instead of 2 in most cities. So
yeah, I'm here.
This wasn't that hungry, and then I had a 40-minute drive because I don't live that close to Nashville, but I didn't want to get, driving. I don't know how much it costs to take an Uber that long. So, but anyway, I'm here.
Yeah, we're all here. We're all here. It's afternoon on a Saturday. I'm sure we all had our fantastic Friday night yesterday, but thanks for joining us, everybody. Please feel free to leave your comments in the chat so that we can add you to today's program. Alan's been a super user. We welcome Alan. Do you know Alan?
I think he's been on the show before.
Alan's been joining. Show, right? Alan's been joining the TNAM AM show. Hey, Deb. Oh my gosh. Deb is unable to post on YouTube for some reason. She's not able to, she's blocked. Her and Ken, they're trying to relay communications and message, passing a note in class. It's hey, hand that to Susie. Hey, hand that to Susie. And it's Deb is trying to talk, but she's got to go through Ken. But hey, she's here on X. Thank you, Deb. And everybody else, thank you so much. Nashville is for two-stepping, she says. Did you do some two-stepping last night?
I don't dance, Brian, unless I'm really drunk. And I don't even know how to do that. So
I know I once tipped a bartender too much in Cancun, and he asked for another $5 bill. And then he said, give me one more. I go, this better be the best damn shot I've ever had. And he went down and he did some things and he got a tall shot glass. And it was almost like he was putting some powder into this drink, and it was a tall shot glass, and he put a cover on it, like a Bevnap. And this was all you could drink, so I didn't have to tip him anything. But I gave him a 5. I go, I want your best shot. He goes, more. I go, more than 5? 10. He goes, one more. I'm like, dude, this better be the best shot ever. And he said, you got to shake it. So I didn't even realize what was happening until later. I bought drugs off of this guy, and I didn't know it. And so I shook the shot, and then I, mixed up all whatever powder, probably Molly, MDMA, something, because I was at a rave. Ja Rule was in one room, and Funkmaster Flex was in the other. And it was like this massive Cancun spring break peak week establishment, upstairs, downstairs, this room, that room. Dude, I danced for like 7 hours, and I don't dance. So I don't even know what was happening. Like, I get the rave scene now, but that was all accidental. That was never intentionally.
That was fun, like 20 years ago. Yeah, when like the ecstasy became a thing, and going to the clubs in Vegas. Yeah, it was a fun little phase.
Society peaked about 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we got the limbs are flailing a little bit, but society's no. Honestly, Blake, don't you feel a reinvigoration with the past 3 weeks of President Trump? You actually see competence. You see things getting done. It's not in our stack, but I mean, President Trump brought the plastic straw back. You've been a bartender. I mean, come on, that paper straw that sticks to your lips and melts into your drink. It's trash. That's not usable, right?
I'm torn on that one. No, the paper straws are awful. They dissolve too quickly. Yeah, but they do make like it's kind of like a bioplastic. I would think that would be a different alternative, because on the flip side, you do have all of that ocean waste, and it is disgusting how much plastic and the microplastics, and there are concerns about that. So
I did read a report that said that there's 30 known carcinogens in the paper straw. Like it's like, oh, I'm going to have a meatless burger. All right. If you want some Frankenfood, you want to know what garbage is in that thing? It's like we try to do things when we did, can't believe it's not butter. Well, hey, look, there's no fat. Yeah. Well, there's no food in there either. You're eating petrochemical. It's like, I don't know. There's always one or the other, but I'm happy that we're getting the plastic straws back. All right. Let's start today's show. Okay. All right. We have a stack of stories. We're going to stay focused on those. Blake will knock these out with us here. And who knows, maybe if I'm feeling spicy, maybe I'll continue through the Instagram feed, but we're going to do a very focused 60 right now. And we'll start with the big story. Hey, look, the NFL, Super Bowl, super time, Super Bowl. But is the Super Bowl super rigged, Blake? What is going on? Do you agree or disagree that the Kansas City Chiefs are winning because the NFL is cheating?
I do think they get favorable calls. Absolutely. I've seen too many for them to get away with. It's like, really, the Chiefs, it always seems to go one way. I don't have it in front of me, but I think even Adam Schefter had like a list showing how many times like the Chiefs get penalized or whatever versus the other teams in certain moments. And it was like, come on. Like, most people see it. Roger Goodell has said no, there's nothing going on there, but I'm not so sure about that. So they seem, the football's NFL's a business, and I think they definitely want the Chiefs to win, get their three-peat, if you will, because it's so marketable with Patrick Mahomes and I already forgot the coach's name.
Andy Reid.
What's that?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, yes. I can't see like Nick Sirianni of the Eagles doing the Fumblerooski thing. They're not as marketable. They're not going to have all the fun State Farm commercials and what have you. So I think the NFL is going to rig it for the Chiefs tomorrow. I have not put my bet in, but I will probably put like $25 on the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's hard to, look, there's an obvious hip drop tackle. These are the ones you have to call because it blows your legs out. Here's one, it's obvious. You can't drop your body weight and crumple somebody that way. This one is a clear, look at that face mask, uncalled. Yeah. This is the most obvious, but you have refs in different spots. You don't miss plays like that where you're running one direction. and your head snaps back the other way and you stop movement. It's just it's an ongoing trend with the Chiefs over and over and over. Where's have you seen the one? I didn't know if you had a story for this, Blake, but
Was it the one where they tried to they were going to throw a flag on the Bills play if that tight end had caught the ball when Josh Allen I think he was trying to hit Dalton Kincaid or something. Almost made it. He didn't. He dropped it, and it looked like they were ready to throw a flag in case he did catch it, and then they didn't give him the call on the was it like 4th and 1 or whatever. Like it just seemed like they rigged it against the Bills. But
yeah. We did our Strictly Football show on Thursday with Mike Barra. You do the Toxically Masculine Tuesday show with Mike, and Jim Mitchell as well. And we were talking about this. And in fact, Blake, I something you saw, something I shared with you, I didn't really share with the universe, but I did my first stand-up sets this week. Figuring it out, reading out. Look, I'm literally reading off of note cards, and I'm clearly, trying to figure out the best way to get to jokes, more jokes per minute, this, that, and the other. But part of the point of what I was doing was talking about DEI, talking about the Black Hawk helicopter. We don't know. So in the absence of information, there's rampant speculation. And, that's the thing about DEI. It means didn't earn it. And that's what we kind of feel like the Chiefs are doing. It's like they're getting favorable treatment like DEI. They will marginalize a man or a white man or a white straight Christian man. It's just like everything I am is discriminated against under those backward policies. Luckily, Trump got rid of those. President Trump, thank you. My whole life that's been working against me. But it's like, I just want a competent Black Hawk helicopter pilot. I don't care who they sleep with. I don't care what their skin looks like. I don't care how they pee. It doesn't matter to me. All that matters is competency. And when it comes to football, I don't want them changing the rules and only calling certain penalties to always harm the other team. I want the best team to win. And it just kind of seems like the Chiefs, they get an extra 3 points, 4 points, 7 points, 10 points. The game can be rigged in a lot of ways. There's a lot of penalties you can ignore, and there's a lot of penalties you can invent. It's like you can call holding on every play, but when do you decide to do it? In fact, the referees gave the Chiefs a Super Bowl win against the Eagles last time. Kind of a ticky-tack pass interference call led them right into field goal range for the game-winning kick 2 years ago. So I hope the Eagles get their retribution. Deb from SAC is saying Toxically Masculine Tuesday. Blake, you got to flex. Toxically Masculine Tuesday is the best show of the whole week. Yeah, it is good.
A lot of people they love that show. So we're here for it.
That's awesome.
Glad you enjoy it. Thanks for the support.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I do a sports show called The Unhappy Hour. I'm a huge fan of sports and football in general, even though Deb says it's boring. I'm pulling for the Eagles. I will be happy for whichever running back wins the Super Bowl. I'm a fan of Kareem Hunt. He's an Ohio kid who got himself into a bit of a mess. It wasn't the worst thing anyone's ever done, but he kicked a girl. It was a bad day. It was on camera. It was not good. He paid a price for it, and he's revitalized his career. And the Browns threw him in the trash dump last year. Look at that. He's the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. If he wins, I'll be happy for him. Other than that, I don't want to hear about three-peat. I'm sick of Mahomes. I'm sick of the Chiefs. I'm sick of the commercials. I'm sick of that team. I love Saquon Barkley. I hope the Eagles get retribution. That's what I'm hoping for. But I don't know how anyone could actually put money down against the Chiefs, knowing, look at that. The guy's wearing it. Obviously, this is a parody here, but it's like he's working for the Chiefs, the referee, So.
Right. Well, yeah, I was hoping the Eagles would lose and Chiefs would lose in the championship round, and that didn't work out too well for me with the bets. I should have bet right how I thought it was going to play out, even though I didn't like the outcome. But now I'm going to go on the Chiefs. Not financial advice. I'm only putting like $25 on it, so don't bet the house on it. But you never know. Yeah, that's a good one. Again, it comes down to marketability. What is the State Farm? How are they going to run all the commercials without all the Chiefs players? And then Kelsey and, of course, Taylor Swift and all of that. There's just so much money that they make if the Chiefs continue to win. Versus Nick Sirianni, who I don't think would be marketable. I can't see him doing anything silly like they do with Andy Reid.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Barkley. Yeah, I like Barkley. That's about it. So we'll see. Otherwise, I hate the Eagles. I just have no. I'm not very excited about this one, but I'm going to watch it anyway.
This clip here with Kevin Hart, this is kind of making fun of it.
Right. So you come grab my top half.
So we have to say,
showing how to tackle Patrick Mahomes to avoid getting a penalty.
Here. Yeah, right here. Now you can come in and get my bottom half.
Okay.
Pick me up. Go ahead. Feel free. Now, that's too hard. Don't put me down there. Y'all got something to lay me on? No.
this should be a penalty.
Get something down. Get something down.
Okay.
Lay me down.
Okay.
Don't you do me without that. Now make sure I'm safe. Now put that on because I get cold. I get cold.
Okay.
Lay me down.
Yeah,
I get cold.
You good?
Okay. No, I'm not good.
You not good?
Now,
how about that? You good now?
No, one of y'all give me a story.
Here we go.
Say something nice.
It was the night before Christmas.
There you go.
All through the house.
There you go.
Should I burp you too?
Yeah, pat my back.
Okay.
Not even the mouse named Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the way we're going to do it from now on.
This is a safe sack.
That's the safe sack. That's how you're allowed to tackle Patrick Mahomes.
Pretty much.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm still not even sure how I'm going to consume the game tomorrow. I'm not sure where or what I'm going to be doing, but I will be rooting for the Eagles. So, question of the day: who are you rooting for? Who do you hope will win? Type it in the comments, and we can talk about it. All right, let's shift gears to another topic. Huge story, Blake. USAID. You think that these revelations with USAID are going to sink the Democrats and the lying legacy media, formerly known as mainstream media? Now we know it's all paid propaganda. What say you?
I'll just say yes. I'll agree. Why not? The way that they're freaking out about it, and the way that some of these, as you said, these propaganda outlets are getting money from them. What happens when you take that? They're just barely been scraping by and surviving for years. And then if you're going to take that money, I mean, even like the BBC, Politico, it's crazy. So if you take that away, yeah, that could hurt them significantly, and they'll have to do some more layoffs, lose more relevancy. And it's good riddance. I mean, that's a lot of the reasons that they were getting paid is because they were, they were slanting their news, for, big government, the deep state over populist Trump and the Patriots. So, yeah, now that it's all been uncovered and revealed, and the people are freaking out. Yeah, I would say that this could lead to some bad problems for them. And
I hope so. And look, in the title of today's show, what do we call it? Super Bowl, super rigged, ? And then it said, what was the second part that I put? I said, plus Elon exposes everything. USAID unveiled. Blake, look, Medicare and Pentagon are next. Medicare and Pentagon? Oh my gosh. I sent you something on Telegram in one of our chats there. And it was, remembering the last time that we did an audit of the Pentagon, what happened? And it was like this animal having this fever dream flashback to the towers getting hit when Rumsfeld couldn't account for $1 trillion back when that meant something 25 years ago. We're getting into dangerous territory. USAID, that is a CIA cutout. And we've learned that the CIA went rogue and became anti-American, anti-constitutionalist, anti-libertarian, anti-conservative, anti-normal people. And they've been pushing crazy shit for, I don't even know how long this has been going on. It's like we've never really understood what USAID was doing, but thanks to Mike Benz, thanks to Elon, thanks to President Trump, Blake, it's starting to make sense now, though, for the first time in a while. It's like, how are these outlets not going out of business? Oh, they're CIA front organizations. They're not real. How does anyone vote Democrat? Let's get into the SAVE Act and find out get rid of any voting machines. Just go to paper ballot same day. Show your voter ID. Dude, no, Democrats are not supported. You might have 20% of the country that's either brainwashed or legitimately crazy. And the rest of us are just normal people that want to get by. You don't want to waste money frivolously because I want you to take the fewest dollars possible from me. But their goal is to steal as much as possible, like pirates, looting a ship. Everything, every board that's not nailed down, strip it off like a bunch of army ants going to work on a carcass on the field of the Serengeti. That's what it feels like our government's been, Blake.
Yeah, I suppose. They're serving themselves and not the people they're supposed to. And the richest country in the world, and somehow we're 36 trillion in debt. And they've taken advantage of our generosity, and we've looked the other way for too long. And now it's time to pay the bills. Credit cards are out of control. It's time to cut some stuff, cut the fluff out somewhere. Yes, here's we'll do a quick one here from CNN. Scott Jennings calmly explaining the appeal. This is radical transparency. This is something that everybody should be in agreement on. Yet it's the Democratic lawmakers that are the ones that are freaking out the most, and they're not really sure why. Because it's their little slush fund that they were having fun with. And probably for the people that eventually leave Congress, this is what they do, where you leave the CIA and then you're still a director and you're still going to get on the payroll somewhere.
The 51 intelligence officials that lied so that they could try to put Biden in so that they could steal as much money as possible. Zelensky said $100 billion that I was told I was getting never happened. Like the rats are starting to turn on themselves at this point. It is glorious watching Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who have pretended all these years to be for the working person. Oh my Lord. They have exposed themselves as being probably the root of the problem. But they put on a kindly old face and they give you a pablum message. They feed you a little bit of what you want to hear. Man, these people are wolves in sheep's clothing for sure.
Definitely. Now we got some wacky ads in here. All right, I'm gonna not get distracted here. Let's play this quick.
So not illegal. You don't like the politics of it. I'll give you the other side. This is radical transparency on these USAID grants and other parts of the government that typically operate in an opaque fashion. And plenty of law degrees here. I'll give you the political view. The American people elected Donald Trump because they thought he was going to be a sledgehammer against this government and against the out-of-control bureaucracy, and Elon Musk is the instrument of the destruction. And there is nothing bad about the politics of this right now, about going through the government and reporting to the American people, did you know your money's going here? Did you know your money's going there? It's all upside for Trump.
Yep, well said.
All upside for Trump. I mean, people, some of the, like, have you been surprised to listen to some of the complaints against Elon participating? It's like, nobody elected you. You have a 19-year-old. Like, they're the dumbest arguments. None of their arguments even make sense. And I'm going, hold on. You mean the president of the United States, the boss, the Don? He's getting America's, maybe one of the planet's smartest human beings, most competent human beings, to work for free to fix the government. I think that's a win. Now you can have, concerns about Elon having too much information. Information about what? We're figuring out where the dollars are being spent. That is the radical transparency Scott, what's that guy's name? Scott Jennings was talking about there.
Right.
And yeah, obviously we're going to get into USAID. Oh my Lord. It's been so helpful. USAID funded the USAID funded the bioweapons lab in Wuhan that unleashed COVID. The earth should stop spinning hearing stuff like that. Still waiting for some justice, still waiting to see some actual penalties there. But yeah, USAID is just the start. This is going to run a lot deeper now. Medicare, Pentagon.
Yeah, it was Medicare here. Is that what I had? Yeah, this one was Medicare. Medicaid wasted $100 billion of taxpayer money. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is all just the first week of digging through everything.
Yeah. Imagine how much more is sitting around once you keep. It's layers of the onion. You just keep peeling it back and finding more and more.
Absolutely. And of course, yeah, with the media too, accused of funneling $260 million to organizations linked to George Soros's Open Society foundations, as if this guy doesn't have enough money, and he's meddling around and using it for his own activism against the United States.
Yeah, the United States is paying George Soros to destroy the United States. It's almost as if the deep state wants to destroy the United States. That's part of their plan, to erase borders, erase culture, erase history, erase legacy, devalue our dollar to the point where nobody can get by except for themselves. Georgia Guidestone style. Let's try to cull the population, make it so expensive nobody wants to have kids, push Planned Parenthood, push after-birth abortions. I mean, Blake, you and I wouldn't be in the media if we didn't see the writing on the wall with all these topics 20 years ago. But now they're all starting to connect together. The Lego pieces are snapping together, and you can see the whole house of cards being built. And you're like, oh my God, here it is. This is finally it. All you ever had to do was follow the money. It just makes you think that nobody ever wanted to follow the money before, because everybody else had been puppets. And Trump in his first term, I think he had the right intentions, but I think he got caught up in the sledgehammer of other people getting in his way, the deep state trying to take him out. And it just ruined his 4-year term. But this time, with nothing to lose, I mean, he's playing with house money. I've never seen somebody work so hard. There's a comedian, J.L. Cauvin, and he does a pretty good Trump impersonation, although he suffers from the Alec Baldwin syndrome where he doesn't like Trump. So he doesn't give his character he doesn't find the heartwarming qualities. It's all just like bitter and empty, and it kind of loses its humor. But he made an unfunny post yesterday saying that Trump is the laziest president he's ever seen. Like he's getting Elon to do his dirty work. And it was like when John Fugelsang said, when he typed something along the lines of Donald Trump didn't get shot. Maybe some shrapnel hit him or something. I'm like one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen. But this JL Cauvin did another one saying Trump's the laziest. And I responded back. I'm like, this is the most active president I've ever seen. This is the worst take I've ever read. Are you serious? Is this satire? He's just a bitter man that hates Trump for whatever reason. And he doesn't see the action. The president went from North Carolina hurricane damage to Los Angeles fire damage in the same day. Sure, that guy's lazy. I don't even know what to say to the people making these awful arguments anymore. Like, they are probably past the point of no return, right? Like there's no talking sense or having debates they seem incorrigibly lost to me.
Right. You can't have like a good faith discussion. They're not out for that. It's just, it's their Trump derangement syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad. Yeah. When they can't even there's plenty of things to criticize Trump over, but to say he's lazy, I mean, that's just like intellectually lazy to say that.
Agreed.
Right.
What was this one about the journalists? What was this one?
USAID spending $268 million to fund 6,000 approved journalists, while at the same time they were spending millions to silence their conservative counterparts. And in fact, here's an interesting clip here from Robert Davi from Kerry Lake, saying Politico probably ran about 50 hit pieces on her while they were getting a bunch of money. They were using her tax dollars to write hit pieces so that they can continue to get their USAID funding as long as they toe the party line. Or it doesn't really matter. As long as you're against Trump and the MAGA crowd, it doesn't matter. So Bill Kristol on the right versus Politico on the left, it didn't matter. As long as you're against that, you're all good and they'll fund you. But let's take a look at this quick clip.
Politico ran probably no fewer than 50 hit pieces on me over the past 4 years, 3.5 years. I think it's election interference when they are being funded by the USAID and they're running hit pieces only on, MAGA type America First candidates. They attacked me nonstop.
Unbelievable.
And they just put another hit piece out on me today, and they did it constantly with President Trump as well. Our tax dollars shouldn't be going to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're finally being called out. Kerry Lake, we'll have you back soon. Thank you.
Agreed. It's insane that we let the Democrats invade the deep state like they have. Look, it makes sense that we have a security apparatus. It makes sense that we have a presence in other countries. But to turn that inward, to go after Republicans, to go after Trump, to go after MAGA, that is too far. That's beyond criminal. That is a coup. That is treasonous. There are specific prescriptions for what happens when people go rogue like this. This is a full-on rogue attempt to undermine the duly elected people of this country. I mean, it's coming out that they're probably responsible, USAID, for overthrowing Brazil with Bolsonaro and putting that criminal Lula in charge. The people didn't want that. There's no way the people voted for that or wanted that. They've been going across the globe, Blake, attacking people who are nationalists, who want to take care of their country first, who want to actually do good things. What did they say about Libya? Saddam Hussein. I'm not saying these are great people, but I'm saying they were working on some really big projects to help the people of their country. And it seems like the powers that be did not want that, and they took them out. And it's a cancer that's invaded every government all over the place. And luckily, we have people like Nancy Mace here. Nancy Mace has been pretty great, I think. She's been one of the best. You compare the best communicators on the Democrat side, I'm having a hard time finding one. But on the Republican side, there are so many talented communicators, and Nancy Mace cuts right to it,
Right. One of the rising stars of the Republicans, sure.
Oh, before you go to Nancy Mace, I just wanted to add this comment by Alan. Sorry, I forgot this. Also yesterday, and we'll get to Nancy Mace, I'll just read this quote from President Trump. If you missed this yesterday, this is awesome. So President Trump says there's no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community, IC, to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Hur report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again. Has there ever been a better post on social media than this one?
Oh, he's got at least a good banger every day, and there's always a leftist meltdown afterwards. Yeah, that was also in that stack that was kind of the news today. That broke last night. It's kind of the Friday.
No, I think it was yesterday. I think I covered it on the morning show. Which one? Kash Patel. Did we have it in the stack for today?
Yeah. So I just had those. I had those two in there. He's also stripping clearances from. I'm not even sure why some of these people had clearances. New York Attorney General Letitia James or DA Alvin Bragg. Is he also going after Blinken too? Yeah, I guess. So I haven't clicked on I haven't even clicked on it yet. But yeah, he's stripping a lot of security clearances from some major people on that side. So yeah, shoes on the other foot, and now it's Trump's game now, and these people have all been targeted him and tried to destroy Trump. So. And these are, compromised people that get a bunch of money from George Soros. So we just showed they wouldn't be in office without the creepy anti-American Hungarian billionaire funding their political runs. So, yeah, it looks like. It also has Jake Sullivan, and it could be Hillary Clinton coming up.
Yes.
There could be several people. They are going to be cut off, and good. They deserve it.
Man, we were so close to just losing our entire country.
Absolutely.
We have a lot more work to do. Was this the tag you wanted me to put? The FBI should be protesting the retribution mission? Is that what they were calling the Trump revoking the security clearance? The retribution mission?
Which one? Okay, let me see if I can. I know that's somewhere. I think
By
it's
the way,
from
let Blake go ahead and look for that. And in the meantime, let me just tell you, hit like, hit subscribe for the Agree to Disagree show, please. Follow Blake on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley, and his archive is thenextlevelnews.com. He's been doing eccentric perspectives now, starting to crank those out, which are nice to see. That's always good. It's good for all of us, I think, to do solo things, partner things, project things, teamwork things. I think different voices come out, different ideas come out. It's always good to see people in different settings, and it's good that those shows are coming out. So follow him, and of course, if you like the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show, find the New American Media on Rumble and YouTube. Subscribe to both of those. The Agree to Disagree show podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or whatever the hell it's called. The New American Media is on Patreon. On X, we're at American_media_. The New American Media is on Truth Social. And of course, we have in Meta pages on Facebook and Instagram. You want to hit our Instagram because like the daily show, like we put 20, 30 stories at the top of the screen, like as you're scrolling. I don't know what you call them, reels or this or that, but awesome content. We follow a great cast of characters, and you will, in a short amount of time, just through scrolling through our timeline, you can get a super fast version of what's going on in the news just by tapping and skimming the highlights. So make sure you're following us in those places. Okay, you found one about Kash Patel.
Well, okay, hold on. I think that caption is from the Tuesday show. I think that was something we covered at the very end. Because they're going after all the FBI people that were involved in the J6 persecutions. And they were fearing that there was this retribution, and in some ways there is. So I'm going to find out who.
Yeah, we don't call it retribution; we call it justice.
Well, that's what they're calling it, right?
Yeah, we're not using their words anymore. We're not going to play this word game. Jordan Peterson started yelling about this years ago. We're like, easy, fella. What's the big deal? It is a big deal because it starts in one spot and it cascades. You're going to try to force me to compel me to use speech. I'm not doing it. And you saw with JD Vance, one of the people, the big balls guy, one of the 19-year-olds that was working with the Doge team to, root around and figure out where things are going so we can figure out what to cut. They tried to cancel him because he had an anonymous account saying some stuff. And JD Vance came in. He's like, look, judge this guy by the work that he's doing. We're not canceling people. If they do a shitty job and for Doge, then let's cancel them for doing a lousy job. But we're not doing this. And JD just standing up for that. It's because if you give these people an inch, they will take a mile. If you let them take one scalp, they're just going to keep coming for scalps. Aha, I found something in the past that this person did. They're not allowed to earn an income anymore. Shut up. I'm so sick of being bullied by these wackos on the left. So, yeah, we're not using the word
like teenager. I mean, they're going after stuff that like people posted when they were, like teenagers in high school. Like, let's destroy their lives over something stupid. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, these so-called journalists that will just target everybody.
Hello to Paul from Montana. Do you know Paul, or is Paul on the New York?
Paul's been around for years, I think, on and off on various shows. So good to see him.
Paul getting caught up. Heck yeah, good stuff. Love having all of you in the room because we're playing tennis. You guys hit the ball and we hit the ball. Tell us about any story you wanted us to mention that wasn't in our stack. We already got to the straws. We touched on it. Getting fired, revoking the security clearance. We touched on it. Like, your comments lead to me pulling things up, which improves the show, makes it more fun. But so what is going on? Kash has been delayed now?
Yeah, and I think it was Jack Posobiec Mike Adams, Health Ranger, was saying that this was probably because they needed more time to
shred the documents.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, part of it could be retribution because of the USAID thing. And, we're going to just try to play around here and reject your candidates. And we'll delay. But, yeah, it could be because they're trying to, get rid of the evidence.
They better have whistleblowers on the inside that are gonna identify all this stuff. They got to have whistleblowers.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. But I mean, yeah, it hasn't been a very good time to be a whistleblower. Those people usually have a very hard time and have their careers destroyed when they should be celebrated. Yeah, your friend Brian Krasenstein was saying that Kash Patel belongs nowhere near the FBI. Why? He didn't give any explanation, but I don't think. I just think some of the times they put this shit out just for engagement farming, just shitty posts, and then people will you'll get a lot of activity, I guess, but not good stuff. It's always negative, but I guess
that's what the view is, right? Like they're not serious.
They have people that believe it. All these like people that sit at home and watch that shit in the afternoon. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They believe that stuff. I don't know if the Krasensteins actually believe their own BS or if it's just half of it's just for their own business. They just love to, push people's buttons and get the engagement, and then they get revenue out of that. So, I mean, he said the same thing about Tulsi Gabbard, but again, there's no contact. Like, why? Like, give me a reason. Why should we not? Why does Kash Patel not belong anywhere near the FBI?
It sounds like he's the exact person that we need. Someone that's going to get to the bottom of how they turned into a traitorous organization. They're freaking out because we know what they've been up to now, and it is not the mission. Their mission has been subverted a long time ago, and there's been a culture of treason. I mean, you're going to have gallows. You're going to have to execute people for the treason they've committed. The intelligence agencies have been turned on us, on we the people. It is the biggest betrayal this side of Fauci unleashing the coronavirus from Wuhan. This is the biggest betrayal of humanity in our government that you've ever seen. For them to actively target us and become a battering ram for the New World Order, a battering ram for the globalists, a battering ram to destroy everything that made this country great. And so when you do have a reform candidate, you have somebody coming in to say, guys, you haven't balanced a checkbook in 40 fucking years. You're fired. You're all fired. Get out of here. Well, number one, they earned it. Number two, they did it to themselves. Number three, this isn't vengeance. This isn't retribution. This is long overdue justice. And the fact that they're funding idiots like Lula over like people's champs like Bolsonaro, you can turn around El Salvador in 1 year if you care, if you're Bukele. You can turn around Argentina in 1 year if you're afuera. What's his name? Argentina. But not Bolsonaro.
Not Bukele or in Argentina, right?
Yeah.
Malay? That's Malay. Javier
Milei. Jeez. Yeah, I was having I started going through my Rolodex of like foreign leaders and I got hung up.
Right.
Yeah, but you can turn a country around in a year if you give a shit. But you have to stop these deep state goons from meddling to destroy every sovereign nation, to pillage them from every piece of treasure that they have. So, yeah, that needs to happen. What is this one? More Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, that was just in the stack that I had, but you already brought it out, so it doesn't really matter. It's just no Chiefs miracle. Most say refs rig games.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. KC won a lot of very close games. Their offense isn't that great, but they keep pulling it out, and a lot of it comes down to questionable calls.
Ticky-tack penalties. Yeah, Deb, you're right. They're just throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what can stick. They don't have anything on Kash and Tulsi. Yeah, this was great. NFL removed end racism slogan from the end zones ahead of the Super Bowl, but they remain committed to DEI policies. That's awful. I proposed that they should paint over end racism and then say the left lane is for passing. Like, give us a message that humanity actually needs, not to push these Colin Kaepernick, Nike, Democrat Party fueled lies that America is a racist place and everybody hates everybody because of what they look like. That's not true. The deep state Democrats use that weapon. They try to convince you, to get you angry and divided, to block the Trump agenda. That's not true. But I think a message that America needs to hear is the left lane is for passing. See, that's a nice overlap, passing and running. The left lane is for passing. I'm shocked, Blake, the amount of people that will clog the left lane and not understand. Get the fuck out of the way. Move. If you're in the left lane and someone is now behind you, get the fuck over. If there's a car there, you speed ahead of that car and get over, or you slow down and get over. You get out of the way. If the
Have you
NFL
driven
has
through
an
Nashville,
opportunity to
Brian?
give a good message that all of humanity needs, the left lane is for passing. I would love to see that slogan painted.
They could use that slogan in Nashville as well. I don't know if you've ever driven through here, but that seems to be a thing. People just don't seem like they have no clue. Like they're oblivious to the idea that the left lane, and they don't get out of your way. They just hang there. You got to pass them on the right, I guess.
I did a drive from Los Angeles to Vegas one time. Everybody, it became like a caravan. It was me and 5 to 10 other vehicles. It was a night drive. My Blazer was in the shop getting its 3rd engine. Well, we had a repair. We had a shop that had engines, and so they just stripped it from one Blazer, and they're going to put it in, but it didn't fit. It was like halfway through, and like the intake manifold was in a different spot. So it took me 3 engine replacements to get to the one that worked, and it worked fine. I drove for another 10 years. Not bad for $1,800 or $1,200, whatever it was. But I was in a rental car. I was in a Dodge Challenger. Those are fun, man. Those are fun cars. They look cool. They drive cool. And so I'm making a midnight drive, nighttime drive from LA to Vegas. The slowest traffic was in the left-hand lane. And we were all whipping around, passing on the right, whipping back and flying. And I was just caught up in 10 or 15 cars, some behind me, some ahead of me. You were either blocking what was happening or you were just rolling with it. We may or may not have been driving about 115 miles an hour.
Jesus.
And we just went for it. It was like there's power in numbers. They can't get us all. But
I've seen large groups of cars get pulled over. There'll be a whole bunch of cop cars hanging on one of those exits, just waiting for one of those groups to come through, and they all get pulled over. Everyone.
Right, good point. Well,
but you got lucky. That's all good. You know, some people do drive pretty aggressively from there. That's what they talk about, putting that high-speed rail in there. So
one more thing here. Yeah, and high-speed rail from Vegas to LA, that actually makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, mainly for the dancers who go back and forth. But Alan is asking how much money from USAID went to that Episcopal church bishop. You know, the one talking smack to Trump? That's a great question. I've seen reports that she was heavily paid by USAID. And it's just, it's hard for me to believe that the U.S. became so corrupt that it turned on itself and its own citizens. But the only way to protect their constant money laundering and corruption is to go after the good people. And you only put up bad people, the Pelosi's, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens. These are all bad people to their core. They know who they are. We know who they are. These are not people I would like to sit and hang out with. These are not people I would want to spend any time with. You can feel the gargoyle demonic energy on these people. Look at the picture of Victoria Nuland before she became the monster that she is. Look at her now. The energy that turned her into a gargoyle. Dude, she was a hot young lady when she took that job. I guess millions of deaths at your feet and overthrowing countries can, maybe add a little bit of age to your face, I suppose. But, Bill Maher. Yeah, look, it's so obvious even Bill Maher is getting on board now, Blake.
To his credit, he does sometimes act as the voice of reason for the Democrats. There's Jon Stewart, and then sometimes Bill Maher will step in. Oh, of course, Stephen A. Smith. I think that's in our stack today, too. He's another one of those voices. The rest of them all just go, like, they're all just cult think. And they never stray off the talking points.
Did you have a clip from Maher you wanted to play? Because I
don't think there is a clip, but he was berating this girl he was talking about the End Racism campaign. So I don't think there was an actual clip here. But he just said that I noticed that the Super Bowl for the first time, the Trump
by the way, Blake, I did find it here.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to play it, go for it.
Yeah, let me pull it up. There we go. That happened quick.
Yeah. I noticed that at the Super Bowl, there, for the first time in, I think, 4 years now, the Trump administration is making them take away end racism, which they...
I don't Blake, I don't know that the Trump administration is making them take away end racism per se. Right?
But it could. Would they be there if Kamala had won?
Oh God.
They would not have
Had
changed.
written in the end zone, right?
Good point.
And when
But why? It just seems silly. I mean,
to do it or not to do it?
why get rid of it?
Oh, I could tell you why.
I know, but it's just like you're
Because it was stupid to begin with.
yeah, but it's
Let me ask you, who is it for? And if you're a racist and you see end racism in the end zone, you're going to stop being a racist?
but the sentiment is basically like, don't be an asshole.
But I think it's an asshole to nag us during a football game.
Yes. That part. That part. Okay, that was a nice back and forth right there.
Stop being a racist?
But the sentiment is basically like, don't be an asshole.
But I think it's an asshole to nag us during a football game about something that doesn't change anything or any. If I'm not a racist and I see it, it doesn't matter. And if I am a racist, it's going to make me more of a racist.
Like, I think if you write "don't be an asshole" in the end zone, everybody will agree with that.
Hey.
The problem is, we all think the other guy's an asshole.
No, and no one thinks they're a racist.
Okay. But I mean, that actually kind of clarified that quite a bit. If that's the sentiment you're trying to say, then just say don't be an asshole. But that's not it. It was the divisive Obama doctrine to work with Nike, with USAID, and all these propaganda outlets, the politicos, to push this false Colin Kaepernick narrative that America's an evil place, America's a racist place, white people are racist, everything's racist, 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 racist. That's who Barack Hussein Obama is. At his core, he's a divisive character who learned from the Frank Marshall Davis. He learned from all of the Marxists, the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, the race hustlers. We need that stuff gone from this country. We're Americans. We have one flag. We have one national anthem. And just this fake paradigm that sort of mainly started when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, didn't know where he was headed with it, and then kind of, yeah, because, this country, and yep, racist, and yep, they're not hiring me because of it. We have got to get out of this era, Blake. It's been so toxic and so divisive and so unnecessary, but I guess it was effective for those people in the deep state to push it because it kept Trump from succeeding at things. It kept us on the wrong track and arguing with each other. They were able to use it. They took the chaos and used it for their own narratives. But yeah, Deb from SAC, burn that effing race card. Burn it. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. It's
all right.
Divide and conquer. And it was smearing everybody as racist. Every time you disagreed with Obama, it's because you hated him because he was black. Yeah, it was awful the way they twisted everything for years. So
yeah, it's like I don't hate Obama because he's black. He's half white.
Half white. That's why.
He's as white as he is anything else.
Right.
It's so stupid. These stupid narratives. I'm so done with it. And the Democrats are flailing around trying to find a new standard bearer for their party. They're so desperate. They're thinking maybe Stephen A. Smith's our guy. And look, Stephen A's been making the rounds and he's been making some sense. It's just so weird when someone makes a couple of good points now. We're giving them so much praise. We call it like the Maher effect. He says a lot of dumb shit. It's like, oh, look, he said something smart finally. Oh, look, he said something that makes sense. I know Maher gets a lot of things right and Stephen A gets a lot of things right, but I don't know. Before we crown their asses, let's look at the top 100 issues and see how crazy they are on all of them before we give them their roses too soon. But look, the Democrats don't have anything else in their bullpen. Their starting pitcher has nothing left. There's nobody in the bullpen to warm up. Like, good luck. Nancy Pelosi getting a new challenger. All right, so we got two stories. We got AOC's chief of staff and then Stephen A. Smith. Where would you like to go? Do Pelosi first?
I mean, yeah, I guess quickly, it's not really much to say. Is AOC's chief of staff is going to be taking on Pelosi in the primary. But yeah, they have a crisis. They don't have any new leadership. So Republican, the Trump administration is now, they're the party of common sense. Yeah. And now the Democrats are kind of caught between these old cast off dinosaurs and then the dumb, crazy activists that they have coming up, like AOC or Hakeem Jeffries or whoever her chief of staff or David Hogg. I mean, these are all radical nut jobs. Right. So where is the new leadership going to come from?
Yeah, they're shopping at the thrift. They're looking around the shelves at the thrift shop, hoping to find a treasure. You know, these are not talented people. These are bottom of the barrel, what other people tossed away. These are not the brain drain in the Democrat Party is legitimate. You look around the Republican Party, and thankfully Trump destroyed the Republican Party, because it used to be the party of Kinzinger, Cheney, Romney, McCain, all of these corrupted. You might as well call them Democrats. You might as well just call them Democrats or deep state operatives. They're not Republican. They're rhinos, Republican in name only. Yeah, he's Bill Marginal. Yeah, sometimes marginally funny. But yeah, look, Pelosi needs to go. But if you're going to replace it with AOC, didn't AOC and Liz Cheney credit USAID for their success? Like they were puppets that were groomed and put in their position by USAID?
AOC got into that. Well, she was a bartender and was in some part of that program, but maybe you get initiated into that and you network and you meet the right people, and then they like you, and then they say, hey, why don't you run? Where are you at? Oh, New York. Hey, maybe you can join this district. And who knows how they funded her or how she got her start. And it's weird how she's getting reelected. So she's awful, but been an interesting character. But yeah, now you have this weird collection of Democrats that have, and neither side is good. The new generation of the old dinosaurs, it's really bad. So I would think Stephen A. Smith, if he would, choose to actually run, would be kind of maybe a new era of maybe some common sense Democrats,
a Fetterman and a Stephen A. Smith combining forces. Let me bookend my point here with this Mike Benz post. Case in point, AOC, who's promoting USAID all over X today, actually came from a USAID program in college that jump-started her miracle political career. Mike continues, what you will quickly find as you enter the amazing USAID vortex of despair is that virtually every powerful politician and financial motor of American society that promotes and lobbies for USAID is either directly on USAID's payroll, works at a place that is, or his or her donors do. And Benny said that, okay, the quote from Ben's, she's a USAID creation. They teach you the ways, and then they open political doors for you. AOC uses her perch in Congress to keep the USAID money flowing. She's in the club. So yeah, they prop people up and they try to keep that revenue rocking and rolling for him, Blake. So, yeah, Stephen A. Smith, I don't know. Is he the best they have to offer? It's better than most of the rest, but you have a clip.
It'll be a wake-up call. I mean, I'm not saying he's like my ideal candidate, but I do like him 90-95% of the time, and I think he makes sense, and I think he's reasonable. He likes Trump, and sometimes he shows up on the Hannity show. He's reached across the aisle, and I think he cares about the people, and he's sick of all the corruption as well. So he's it would certainly be better for somebody like Stephen A. Smith than somebody like Hakeem Jeffries. So let's take a look here. Quick clip. Maybe.
I doubt I'll ever run. It's not me. I live a pretty good life, and I don't want to ruin it by getting involved in politics.
That's what Trump said.
But I got to tell y'all something. The Democratic Party looks so pathetic after this election. I might entertain running. I just might change my mind one day. I doubt it, but I might. Because how much would it take to beat y'all? And Trump can't run again.
Or can he?
He's done.
Or is he?
Yep. That was it.
They're passing legislation to maybe change it so you can serve a third term. They're proposing.
Oh, come on. No, that's ridiculous. I think it's just one lawmaker.
I don't know. They're talking about it.
Brian, do you think Donald Trump, I think he's 78 or something. I mean, he's great. He's still going strong. He's going to have a fabulous 4 years. But beyond that, do we really want to do a third term? I think this is time where he can make a lot of change in his second term. And I don't know if we need to go there. I mean, in an emergency, maybe, but at some point, you're going to decline. And I think once you're going to hit 80, 82, it's time for him. And as you're saying, it's time for him to go and do his own thing too. He should deserve to go golf and not have to deal with all of the BS of running it. But
I sort of feel like this is his thing now. Like this is what he likes to do. He likes to be a boss. He likes fixing shit. He likes fixing shit. He really is a handyman.
Looking around, start fading once he gets 81, 82. Like I want to see him like go out on top. But
by the way, just a little point here. Mike Ben's also saying Liz Cheney was spawned out of USAID. She worked there earlier in her career, U.S. Agency for International Development, at a firm headed by Richard Armitage. And her posts at State in 02 and 05, 07, largely around Middle East matters, promoting democracy. That's what they like to say, but it really is just a cutout. I mean, it was the theme of that movie about saving the kids. It was like they posed as aid workers, then they got in there, but it's just the CIA's now inside of your country now. That's the gist of it. I don't know how people haven't figured this out. It's not shocking. And I know we need to have a foreign presence, but when you turn your eyes onto the American people and make us your target, don't be surprised that we're kicking you out and we're going to charge you with treason. You've earned it. We didn't ask you to do this. We warned you specifically, don't mess around on American soil with Americans. You did. You censored our speech, violating our First Amendment rights. You violated our HIPAA rights, trying to force us to take experimental stuff. Like, you guys have gone so far out of control to keep your money laundering going. Yeah, I mean, they might need to get another island to do another Gitmo for the amount of people. If they're not just going to line them up at a firing squad or go to the gallows after a military tribunal for treason, maybe we do need another island and another facility, like you said, to send all these sociopaths to one spot, throw all the rats in the same cage and just deal with it. Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Hello. Yes, I was on with Jennifer on election day. Jumped into Mike and Jen's show on election day live from DC. That was fun and cold. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. With Mike Vera Monday and Wednesday. So hello.
Yes, absolutely. We had a couple more in the stack, and then this is the time where Blake turns into his pumpkin. He punches out the time card and says, "Gentlemen, have a great day. Ladies, thank you much."
I want to have 90 minutes is my thing. That's kind of where I see.
He's got to roll. Deb is saying, yes, Trump did say that, LOL, about maybe I'll serve a third term. They said, sir, you can't serve another term. I said, I think I could. Only if you want it. I'm just saying, he loves like doing things like that, but then it kind of gets you thinking, like, I don't know. He's the best president I've ever seen. Of course, I'd like more of this, but groom JD and let JD. But I'd either like to get rid of presidential term limits for presidents or add term limits to Congress. What do we have to do to get Congress to do a 2 and out? You want to get rid of some of this intergenerational corruption. The longer you're there, the more claws get sunk into your skin, and you cannot get them out. You just get trapped by the bureaucracy and the bribes and the gifts and the funding, the financing, the threats, all of it. Yeah, Trump's 80 is the new 60. Okay, that's fair. I mean, he seems to have the energy of a 20-year-old. That's for damn sure. Someone who does not seem to have the energy of a 20-year-old, Maxine Waters, Blake. What's the story here? Do you agree or disagree that we should let Maxine Waters into the Department of Lousy Education?
Yeah, I don't know. What is she going to do anyway? I don't even know if she would know what to do if she got in there, but she's certainly made a spectacle of herself in front of the building.
This guy's funny. This guy, it's like, what's that meme with JD Vance? Margaret, and he's kind of giving that look like, come on. It's that JD face resting. It's the cat at the table while that lady's yelling at him. This is the meme of the cat and the lady's yelling at the cat. And this guy's just like, I love this interaction. It's pretty funny if you want to play it.
Sure. Why not?
Look them
in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID. I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again?
Poor Maxine, she probably forgot his name and everything. She's just there to for these little sound bites, and I don't know. She's out of control, but she's not very bright. But I mean, yeah, this is kind of funny. But I don't know. It's getting weird. Like this security guard, he's in the plain clothes there, holding the fort down. I don't know. They want to get in for what? They want to delete evidence again. What could they possibly do once they got inside? Or maybe just get on the computers. But again, yeah, it'd be funny. Okay, sure. There you go, Maxine. Let you in the building. Now what? There you go.
Okay, Blake, I had not seen this image. In my head, I knew that this is exactly what it reminded me of. And when I typed Maxine Waters, what did I say, cat meme? This is exactly what came up in my head. This is, God, I love the internet. The internet is undefeated. I love the internet so much. I know it's not perfect, but God, that is the perfect synopsis right there.
Yeah, very nice.
I don't know.
Rough week for the Democrats.
Well, speaking about a rough week, how far do you think they'll go? Do you think sterilizing oneself is a good idea? To protest Trump, right? Like I'm so angry about Trump, I'm going to remove my reproductive organs. Not like anyone would really do that. Hold on. There is a story about that? Okay.
Oh, yeah. This is a real thing. Is it up there? Yeah. Democrat representative sterilizes herself. This is absolutely true. So from Michigan, this is a protest against Trump. Representative Lori Pahutsky stated just under 2 weeks ago, she underwent surgery to ensure that I would never have to navigate pregnancy in Donald Trump's America. I refuse to let my body be treated as currency by an administration that only sees value in my ability to procreate. What the hell is she talking about? But this is the mental illness. This is the insanity that these people really, they believe this twisted fantasy, and this is the result. So she, I don't know, whatever. She had she goes, if you know people who are questioning how serious this is, I'm going to repeat myself. A sitting government official opted for voluntary sterilization because she was uncertain she would be able to access contraception in the future, she further claimed. There she is. So is this an effective way to, this is a new level of activism. So I appreciate her boldness, but no, I don't think it's worked out too well. I don't know if anybody's going to follow suit with that. And she's getting roasted in her comments on Twitter because none of this makes any sense. But they're saying maybe this is good as far as removing future leftists and getting rid of them out of the gene pool, whether they're sterilized or whether they take surgeries to modify themselves. None of that's going to work out, or all the abortions that they would go through. It's not going to point to a brighter future full of new leftists. No,
but Jen, that makes perfect sense. So she didn't want to have kids anyway. I mean, that's the story there. She just doesn't want to have kids. And look, you can be pro-life personally, but if you want the leftists to kill as many of their kids as they can, I mean, like it's a smaller number of people who are growing up with Munchausen by proxy. Fewer people growing up being told. Just imagine. I didn't have wacky lefty parents. Like my mom was lefty, but she didn't really, whatever. My dad was probably more, I don't know. I kind of found my own path. I sort of figured out where I was pretty early in life and just went with it. But imagine if you had two loony bin parents raising you. Imagine what those dinners have got to be like, repeating lie after lie that they thought they learned by watching the news Sponsored by Pfizer and USAID. Like, that's not news. That is weird propaganda.
Yeah, I guess I was in a different era, so I didn't have to deal with that. So the Democrats, to me, were the party of common sense 20, 30 years ago, and now they are just unhinged radicals these days. So yes, my mom was very much like a liberal, bleeding heart liberal activist. So I kind of grew up in that era. And yeah, I still think I'm fairly similar in some of my philosophy from 20 years ago. But yeah, I rolled a clip the other day from the Democrat, Hillary Clinton, Chucky Schumer, talking about immigration. And they were saying, why would you have these people in here?
Mm-hmm.
Basically saying the same thing that the MAGA is saying now, but they've changed a lot in the last 20 years. After Obama, they went so far left.
Yeah.
Totally
Obama ruined the Democrat Party, and they deserve it for going along with it. They deserve it. They let that wolf inside of their house. They deserve what they got. And this party should be shattered into 1,000 pieces and scattered to the wind. Yes.
Right. It's like immigration, like these people shouldn't be here. They're from a different country. If they're going to be here, they got to learn the language. They got to go through the proper procedures. Or they would say, hey, these people are gay and they should have the same rights that everybody else does. If they want to get married, let them. Oh, if people want to do marijuana, they can drink. Yeah, they should be able to. They were the common sense versus the crazy Republicans that just wanted to start, foreign conflicts with never-ending wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then have Patriot Acts spying on everybody here. And you couldn't, being gay was a choice, and you couldn't have gay marriage. Marijuana is a gateway drug. Like, very different. So I grew up, and the Democrats were a very different party at that time.
Yeah, Republicans have greatly benefited from the libertarian leanings. They can have their personal beliefs, but they shouldn't be imposing those beliefs on other people. They should live how they want to live and let live, but do no harm. That's the way it's supposed to be. The Republicans needed that dose of that. Deb from SAC saying that the Democrats went so far left, they drove right off the cliff. That's true.
Yep.
Kenneth saying that watching television, CIA, via CIA, of course. And Alan saying JFK could never be a Democrat now. Never be a Democrat now. Okay, Blake, did we have anything in the stack that you had, sir, on your side that we didn't get to address that I might have missed?
No, this wasn't really in the stack. All I had, it was a Meta agreeing to pay Trump $25 million to settle a lawsuit over his social media suspension. So I don't know. Sometimes the articles on natural news can be a day or two late, so I'm not sure how fresh of a story that is. But that's
that came out a little bit ago. But look, these are all relevant stories. And by the way, where's my piece for destroying my media company, from not allowing us to advertise by deranking and hiding our content, deleting our content, removing advertisers, and limiting our reach? Where's our settlement? You're like, all right, yeah, great. Trump got paid. What about the rest of us that were discriminated against? That's what I want. Deb saying that's exactly why you don't impose your views on others. Yeah, the Republicans needed a good dose of libertarianism. I always viewed the Republicans to be the party of common sense, but they were warmongers, absolutely. And they were very pushy and preachy about their personal positions. Personal, preachy, personal position, private position, whatever. That was a quadruple alliteration there, unexpected. Yeah, but I like the MAGA agenda. I don't like the Republicans. I think MAGA, making this country great, is where I'm at. What I intend to do now is do a lightning round, buzzing through the stories on Instagram. I could bid you a day, good sir, or you could hang out and just provide some thoughts as I scroll through our Instagram feed. What say you, Blake?
I'll hop on it for a few.
Yes. All right. All right. Let it be known that at the 1:13 mark, we wrapped the show up.
Yep. Well, no, it's 17 minutes is my time to clear up when I want to. We'll see. I don't know.
Yep. You bounce as soon as you're ready, always. Okay. Let me do this. This fits really well over here. Okay. This was a post from a guy named James. I'm not entirely sure who James Cabrera is, but man, did he sum it up nicely. In regards to life and about the shrieking over USAID from the Democrats. James says, yeah, no one gives a fuck. Fire them motherfuckers. During the heart of COVID, I was laid off by the multi-mega company T-Mobile. No one gave a shit for my ass or the 2,000 others. Do you think I give a fuck about these employees who are stealing and laundering my tax-paying money? So I just said, your heartfelt sentiments are shared by millions of Americans, Blake. Was that too harsh or was that spot on?
No, I think it's right on. I would be absolutely pissed. I mean, yeah, fortunately, I mean, I didn't have to go through that. But I mean, there was a time because I left LA.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was going to have to face was after 2020, after the lockdown. And if I would have wanted to go back into all the gig work and things that I was doing out in LA, they were going to require like proof of vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, that was going to be a deal breaker no matter what. So then I just had no reason to go back to LA.
And then the other domino that fell from that, it's like when you left my place in LA, I was just kind of like, I don't think I can have a place in LA. These travel restrictions and the COVID craziness. I don't want to be in a blue state, a blue city. Sold the place. I had to get out of there. I would have probably tried to keep that place forever. But the craziness of COVID showed so many people, so many things. So many of us were pushed into different directions because of what happened for those past 5 years, for sure. So yeah, thank you, James. Senator Tina Smith. Senator Tina Smith says Elon Musk and his interns are meddling in aviation safety. It's truly terrifying. This is because Secretary Sean Duffy said that he talked to the Doge team. They're going to plug in to help upgrade our aviation system. Tim Young responds, apparently Democrats have never heard of this tiny upstart company called SpaceX. Imagine that, Blake, the Democrats complaining that the SpaceX guy is working to help upgrade the FAA, and they're trying to blame him for a crash or two. It is pure lunacy. The Democrats almost have not a single good idea or a good talking point in their bag of tricks these days.
Yeah, it's these accidents are terrible. It's tragedies, and people are trying to dunk on the other, trying to politicize everything. But I don't know if I'm going to blame either side on that one. But
well, I think what the Democrats were trying to do is said, see, you started cutting employees, and now look, there was a crash for the first time. Hillary did that. And it's like the FAA had nothing to do with the cuts that were proposed and the cuts that happened. The FAA was completely exempt. It was not a part of it. But they'll lie to you all day because they every day they wake up just trying to be a thorn in the side of progress, a thorn in the side of common sense, and a thorn in the side of making things happen. Here's new Attorney General Pam Bondi. She's not messing around. This is shared from Graham Allen talking with Fox.
The DOJ has put a pause on all federal funding to sanctuary cities and states. You filed a lawsuit against Chicago and the state of Illinois for being a sanctuary city. Am I wrong in my interpretation that a sanctuary city is aiding and abetting in lawbreaking?
Sean, what they're doing is they are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of their own citizens and the men and women of law enforcement who are out there trying to protect their citizens. Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois,
Yes.
we sued the mayor, we sued the governor,
Yes.
and we sued others. And let me be very clear, if you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next.
What about those that we now know apparently tipped off the Tren de Aragua?
Anyway, that clip cuts off there. But Blake, you're finally seeing a counterattack on these completely lawless sanctuary cities and the sanctuary states that are harboring the illegal cities. I mean, how overdue is that? The fact that they've been getting away with this for decades and decades, and they're artificially inflating the numbers that they get in Congress because they claim they get to count illegals on the census. So, oh no, we have to govern, so we need extra seats. And it's creating a incentive-based system to keep flooding the country with unvetted, unchecked, non-Americans leeching off of this system, causing crimes that should have never happened, and being a drain on our public resources. What do you think about this? Is Pam Bondi going too far, or it's about damn time?
No, I think this is great. I mean, I'm not really in favor of, the federal government having that much power where they're cracking down on states necessarily, but this is kind of a different, security issue. And it's wrong. And there's a lot of people in Chicago, I think, that are going to go against their governor and mayor. Why are we trying to keep these people here that are just, they're drained on resources, and a lot of them are criminals. So okay, let's see how that rolls out with J.B. Pritzker versus Tom Homan.
Alan's saying Democrats always push the blame game, never the solution. Prove me wrong. Deb is cheering on Pam Bondi. She's been busy. You go, girl. And Kenneth, I'd let Pam bond me. Hey-yo. All right, this one here from the Department of Government Efficiency. In the past 48 hours, HHS canceled 62 contracts worth $182 million. These contracts were entirely for administrative expenses. None touched any healthcare programs. This included terminating a $168,000 contract for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the NIH Museum, Blake. A Anthony Fauci exhibit, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of things that they would do in the past, and I get it, but he's not a hero as much as they want to prop him up.
Here's a weird one. St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. You got an anti-Catholic terrorist attacking the church while they're filming. Line to stop. I don't know where the people were to jump in and stop this. Oh, here's the one, Blake. This is what I was saying about J.D. Vance. Let me actually click on it. It might be 3 posts if my memory serves me correctly. J.D. Vance says, I cannot overstate how much I loathe this emotional blackmail pretending to be concerned. My kids, God willing, will be risk takers. They won't think constantly about whether a flippant comment or a wrong viewpoint will follow them around for the rest of their lives. They will tell stupid jokes. They will develop views that they later think are wrong or even gross. I made mistakes as a kid. And thank God I grew up in a culture that encouraged me to grow and learn and feel remorse when I screwed up and offer grace when others did. I don't worry about my kids making mistakes or developing views that they later regret. I don't even worry that much about trolls on the internet. You know what I do worry about? Roe? What's Roe? Roe? That they'll grow. Oh, he's responding to Roe. Somebody on the Democrat side. I forget the person's name. Sorry, that's who that is. He worries up that his kids will grow up to be a U.S. congressman who engages in emotional blackmail over a kid's social media posts. You disgust me. There it was. It was Ro Khanna. There we go. Ro Khanna said, are you going to tell him? They're talking about the staffer for the Doge team. They found posts that he made anonymously as a kid. And so are you going to tell them to apologize for saying normalize Indian hate before this rehire? Just asking for the sake of both of our kids. And JD just responds, for the sake of both of our kids? Grow up. Racist trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. You know what does? A culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes. A culture that encourages congressmen to act like whiny children. Blake, I'm not sure how much you've been following that, but I think it's a pretty interesting exchange there. Did you have a take on that? Defending the kid and now bringing him back. The big balls kid, I think.
Yeah, again, it's terrible. The stuff that he said when I was a teenager. I mean, I guess I'm glad that there weren't cell phones and social media when I was that age, because I was probably more opinionated then than I am now. And I would have said a lot of things that could have come back to bite me in the ass. And we should definitely encourage, free speech, and people should be able to, say, oh, I didn't, that's how I felt at the time. But people make mistakes constantly. That's how we learn sometimes. Unfortunately, that's how we stumble through our evolution. And to just go and destroy somebody's life. I mean, not everybody's just going to be is an angel or a saint, and they're going to mess up and get emotional, get impulsive, have a bad day, say something dumb, and that shouldn't, destroy their, career. They should be held to that for the rest of their life. It's wrong. Yeah,
it's the cancel culture of just taking scalps. Hey, I ruined another person's life. They're not allowed to ever work again. We need a little bit of grace. That's a Christian concept. Not everybody is Christian, but the concept of finding grace and atoning for previous transgressions and getting a little bit of grace, that is a Christian concept. And whether you're a godly believer in that realm of the Bible and Jesus and all of those things or not, that Christian concept is something that really delineates America from other nations. We were founded as a Christian nation. that at the core of the Puritans coming over and starting things in the 15, 14, 16, 1700s. There's a cornerstone of what we're aiming at. Haven't got everything right by any damn stretch, but giving grace is something the largely godless Democrats do not believe in. They don't hold that as a core belief, and they don't understand grace. I don't have any grace for Fauci. I don't have any grace for the traitors who have weaponized their systems of government to attack me personally and common sense. I don't have grace for them because that's so egregious. It's unforgivable what they've done. But for the rest of us, yeah, a little bit of grace can go a long way. Donald Trump not giving any grace to some of the people at the FBI. He's given a press briefing here at the White House. He has some strong words, and as soon as Kash gets in, I think it's going to be go time at the FBI.
FBI has turned over a list to the Justice Department of the FBI agents who worked on the January 6 rioters cases. Are you planning to fire the FBI agents who worked on those investigations?
No, but I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, that we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone, and it'll be done quickly and very surgically. Did you have a question for the Prime Minister? Talk up.
Very surgically go in and
FBI has turned over a list to...
Whoop, there we go. Blake, do you think that FBI is feasible? I know in some of our libertarian Telegram chats, we've talked about, dismantling and destroying the FBI versus reforming it. Okay, I get the libertarian stance, this idealistic thing that is not really practical, but I don't mind having a group of people working to keep this country and the citizens safe. I do have a problem when they weaponize and try to stage things to remove people from political power like they did. Like they were heavily involved in what they called an insurrection. So, Blake, where do you stand on? Do you think we can reform the FBI, or is it just the behemoth is going to be too large to make a dent in?
I mean, I believe in the concept of having a Federal Bureau of Investigation, but yeah, it's been politicized and weaponized, and they're going to have to clear a hell of a lot of people out there. But there are, I do kind of want those, Boy Scouts, whatever, to go after some of the real bad guys. But they should not be in, school board meetings or going after pro-life activists, the things that they've been doing, or the J6 protesters. There's so many bad things that they have. But if you can find the good ones and keep them and have, in theory, sort of a federal group of like really, sharp detectives, intelligence gatherers, and that's it serves a function. But I mean, it's going back a long time ago. I mean, it's with J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, it's always been a lot of weirdos and blackmail stuff, and whether they were involved in the assassination of Kennedy. I mean, who knows? There's too many bad things. So it's a tough call on that one, Brian.
It is an organization that might just need to be completely unplugged and rebuilt. Start with Kash, get a couple of people, and you got to highly vet them. Alan was saying, check out the magazine Hello of our sexy First Lady, Melania Trump. Look at that. Look at that First Lady. Is that an upgrade over Jill Biden or Barack Hussein Obama's partner?
I don't know. How about Barbara Bush? That was
Barbara Bush. Okay. Barbara Bush. All right.
Well, I'm trying to think about like which one was like actually, whatever. They all. I don't want to go into that.
Oh, you mean Barbara Bush and Chucky Schumer and
whatever Chucky Schumer's married to? I'm not sure what that is. That could be the next like
Emmanuel Macron
or something. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I don't care, but
becoming Michelle Obama. Yeah, like there's
Barry and Big Mike.
Bro, we've been living in a cuckoo clock. It's time to like peel everything off. Like we have to get. It's an infected wound. You got to get the scab off to clean out the wound so it can heal. It cannot heal until it's exposed. It cannot heal covered the way that it is. Everything needs to be exposed. And look, this one here. This is just a good, just a little point to consider.
You get a press
reminder.
Huh? So did you get a press pass yet?
I not to my knowledge yet. No, I did apply for it twice, and it asks you which post a link to your site. So I did one linking it to X, and then I did another linking it to the YouTube channel. So fingers crossed. I intend to. I expect to. I don't know if I will. Would you go eat wings at J. Edgar Hooters? Wait, speaking of chickens, let's talk about chickens here. Here's a reminder. If 1 in 10 American households raised a half-acre garden and kept 35 laying hens, there would be no industrial egg or vegetable production. I mean, I've always wanted to do this. Are you finding eggs where you're at, Blake? Because eggs are still in short supply. They're saying Biden told them to kill 100 million birds because a guy that wasn't at the farm got sick, and they just went around killing all the birds. Now they're out there saying you raised the price of eggs. Like they killed 100 million birds to blame Trump for the cost of eggs. You can't find pasture raised eggs anymore. They're almost impossible to find around me. Is that true around you? Question of the day for everyone in the comments. Can you find not shitty eggs, not factory farm eggs? I mean, like pasture raised 50-cent an egg eggs, one of nature's superfoods. Just if you get back to eating pure foods and raw foods, they're hard to find by me. Are they easy to find by you? Question of the day. Blake, what say you?
Well, I don't know if I'm getting those super fancy eggs, so I haven't looked for those. I haven't seen an egg shortage. So I guess, Western Tennessee is like all farmland. So I'm assuming we probably got it better than in some places around the country, because some places are showing like outrageous prices or shortage. I haven't seen that. So yeah, they've gone up a little, but I usually buy like 18 packs and I go through a ton of eggs. Like, I eat 2 or 3 every day. And anyway, business as usual, right?
My understanding, like free range eggs aren't even free range. They just let them lift their heads up, and they're boxed in. If you get pasture raised eggs from those chickens, my understanding is that the omegas, the nutrients in those are, it's not even comparable. It is a massive superfood compared to whatever. So I don't mind spending an extra $1 or $2 on a carton of eggs, as long as I'm getting like the super nutrients. But it's been really hard to get the good eggs for a long time. And yeah, if you got the opportunity to grow some chickens and have some eggs in your backyard, I think it's a good idea. All right, moving on. David Sachs here. He's got he's one of the thought leaders in the world. He's one of the top 100 thought leaders, I suppose. I'm not super familiar with his work, but he is often referenced by some of the smartest people I know. So he has a thought on why the government is freaking out over Doge and President Trump.
U.S. government runs a $2 trillion deficit every year. We're in debt almost $40 trillion. And we also knew that anytime anyone tries to cut anything in Washington, the whole city screams bloody murder. Okay, so the question is just why? Well, now we know the money is all going to them. It's like round tripping to them. New York Times getting paid. Politico getting paid. Bill Kristol, perennial warmonger, getting paid. Ukraine getting paid. Like 11 out of 12 publications, Ukraine getting paid.
Incredible.
Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister of Hungary, was saying that he's very popular in Hungary. His political opposition funded by USAID. In Poland, the left-wing political opposition funded by USAID, and on and on and on it goes.
BBC. You wonder why everyone in the UK.
Paid.
So yeah.
Like
I couldn't believe the BBC is getting paid.
Every left-wing organization in the world seems to be getting paid by this slush fund at USAID, which disperses about $50 billion a year. That's $1 billion a week. That's actually a lot of money.
$1 billion a week.
And so it makes you wonder. The left in general tries to portray itself as a movement of the people, that it's grassroots. This is the exact opposite. This is AstroTurf. This is basically money coming from the top down out of Washington to fund all of these groups, maybe not even in the United States, like all over the world. So it makes you wonder, what is the real level of local support for these left-wing policies all over the world?
Blake, what kind of local support do you think there actually is for the left across the globe?
Well, no, it's exactly what he said. And it's something I've been talking about for months is, being old enough to remember when the liberal activists were, grassroots, like they really cared about making change, fighting the man. But now they're all, it's all astroturfed, and they're all getting money from some Act Blue or probably USAID, and who knows, or the George Soros, people that are anti-American, really. So
they're responsible for making the planet a much worse place. Democrats break almost everything that they touch. They don't have good ideas. They don't bring common sense or sanity to their governments. They bring wacky, divisive nonsense. It's a clown show when the Democrats show up. Stopping this across the world is going to raise humanity to the golden age. We try to pinpoint what this MAGA movement is. I think it's a rise of the golden age. And I think Trump firing Joe Biden from that post is one of the, keep his intelligence briefings away. And you know what? He did it first. Biden did it first, and he's getting what he deserves. I liked this one here. How it feels taking the boat out into the Gulf of America. Come on, the Gulf of America, George Washington. Don't it feel good? Something about the Gulf of America. Go out on your boat in the Gulf of America. Make America great. This is the Americas. Why was that ever called the Gulf of Mexico? A little country. No, it's the Gulf of the Americas. It's the America Gulf. The Gulf of America.
It makes more sense. I think the extra syllable throws it off a little bit, but I don't really care that much, so just let it go.
This is Kermit the Frog drinking some Lipton iced tea, saying, the people who obsessed over seeing Trump's tax returns sure are against finding out where the taxpayer money goes. And we said, we don't hate Democrats nearly enough. So weird. They were obsessed over Trump's tax returns, Blake. They wanted to know where every dollar went. But, oh my gosh, how dare we audit the deep state? So interesting, huh? Here's another one. We don't hate the government enough. Gunther Eagleman says they spent what was that? I think you played this story, or you pulled it up, Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
Our federal government spent $10 million to do Frankenstein experiments on animals, to do transgender experiments on animals. And they gave $700 to families in North Carolina who lost everything. The government hates you. I mean, Blake, it's really hard to balance that, right? It's really hard to balance all of this waste and the lack of give a shit for people that really need it. I mean, how telling do you think it was watching Biden barely give a shit? That administration barely care about North Carolina at all. And, most of the rebuilding efforts over there came from people like us, came from just regular people who wanted to go find the story, who wanted to go help personally. I don't know.
Yeah, it's victims of LA, Hawaii, and North Carolina. Yeah, people got devastated, but then they're giving tens of billions to Ukraine. It was awful.
Deb said, great Kermit impression. Thank you. I did one on stage. Blake heard my stand-up comedy routine. I did a little Kermit, but I didn't do it as well as I could have. I'm still kind of figuring it out, but
that's an accent to pull off, right?
It is a tough one. It's the Patrick Mahomes accent is what I was doing. By the way, there is the movie we would hope for you to watch. It's a short documentary. It won't require too much of your time. It's only, how long is this? 30 minutes, 31 minutes. Hurricane Helene, help on the way. Blake and I put this thing together, and we got a tour from Grizzly here through Southern Virginia, Tennessee, and into Western North Carolina to tour the damage and, show you the stuff that, maybe you're not seeing enough of. Okay, let me switch back. Blake, you have an off-ramp as well. I got a few more off-ramp if you want it, but I'm going to keep running.
That's a lot of stories there, Brian.
Oh, yeah. This one is from Chief Nerd saying, how about that? Eric Abernathy says that USAID spent millions of dollars on cloud seeding. I thought that was a conspiracy theory. Hey, here's a silver lining. No more silver linings in the air. Blake, I mean, are you kind of getting tired of being told that there's no cloud? Look, that one translates perfectly into the North Carolina story because there is speculation that may have been manipulated. Isn't it nice to finally be able to talk about weather engineering without being called goofy names by goofy people who are covering up their true intentions, like Bill Gates, who wants to block out the sun? And you wonder what chemtrails really are? They're contrails. They're normal. No, they're not. No, they're not. Not all of them. Any thoughts on this one, Blake? This used to be a toxic subject we weren't ever allowed to mention, but now I'm
I've been smeared for this too. What do you think about chemtrails? I'm like, don't get into chemtrails. I don't usually talk about whether geoengineering, not really my subject of expertise, but it is interesting, and there are programs that have been around for decades on that. So it's certainly there is ways for them to do that, but I try not to delve into that so I don't get labeled as a kooky conspiracy theorist.
Yes. Ken is saying, why do libs hang out in odd numbers? Because they can't even. Here's a story that we didn't touch on, but this is an interesting one. Donald Trump says, at my direction, we are going to make the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. great again. I have decided to immediately terminate multiple individuals from the board of trustees, including the chairman, who do not share our vision of a golden age in arts and culture. We will soon announce a new board with an amazing chairman, Donald J. Trump. He announced himself as the new amazing chairman, me. He said just last year, the Kennedy Center featured drag shows specifically targeting our youth. This will stop. The Kennedy Center is an American jewel and must reflect the brightest stars on its stage from all across our nation. For the Kennedy Center, the best is yet to come, including the fact that he fired Karine Jean-Pierre, who had just received a position. She's fired. Thoughts on this one, Blake? Making the Kennedy Center great again.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of the scene in Horrible Bosses with it was Kevin Spacey as the boss, and the one guy's trying to get the promotion. Is it Jason Bateman?
Oh yeah,
and then and ends up that the CEO ends up taking the position of the VP as well as the chairman. Yeah. So anyway,
nice reference. I watched it. I didn't love the movie. It wasn't even that funny, but I did watch it recently.
You didn't like it? I thought both of them were really good. Horrible Bosses, both the first and second one. I thought Kevin Spacey he nailed it in that first one too.
I did. All right. No, that's fair. Maybe I
need to watch. I don't know. I thought they were both really funny, but.
Well, this one here, this is a post. This is a Kamala supporter who changed her mind about President Trump. Listen, for every one of us that say there's no point in having a conversation with the lefty, these people are too far gone. They're too indoctrinated and brainwashed. The left causes brain damage by lying to you consistently. But look, this person is just reminding us there is a little bit of hope, and I think we need to remember this.
All right, y'all. Listen, let me be one of the first black women that was a part of the 92 or the 93% that voted for Kamala to come out and just say it. I regret voting for Kamala. I really do. I regret voting for her. Already into Trump's presidency, not even a full month, and this man has already secured borders. He's already signing bills that are taking place that are uplifting this country. Me not doing my history and really, being investigative and seeing all the things that Trump has done, and now having an eye opener and really looking at this man and seeing exactly how this man works has really put something on my heart. And I don't know what I was thinking going in there voting for Kamala in the first place. I'm glad of the results. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that Trump is in there, but me being so lost and participating into the whole Kamala run and now taking a step back, looking at how this president here is really running things, and it hasn't even been a whole month, is something that I do think about. So, I advise people that are in the Democratic Party, myself, to do your research. Really do your research, okay? Because I can definitely say that as a black woman, a part of the 93%, I made an error. I can admit that. I can take accountability and admit that. All right, y'all. Listen, let me be one of the first black women.
There are people out there that can actually change their mind. I mean, do you tend to just feel like there's no point in trying to talk to people about stuff, or like do moments like this say, maybe a polite conversation, if there's an opportunity, maybe we can win. It's called evangelicalism in Christianity, to win souls to the Lord, but like winning souls away from the Democrat Party. Do you have some hope there? Do you avoid it at all costs, or do you?
No, I love to engage with everybody, especially the ones I don't agree with, and just kind of play logical games. But so many of them, they just have a cult mentality. and they're really afraid to entertain these sorts of decisions. But it is great to see when they think independently and can change their mind, because that's where it gets really tough. But this guy nailed it. He became a huge star this week.
Thank you for sharing this guy. He's another one that I saw, and I'm like, yes, more of this, please. This is the appropriate level of anger that you need to have for the dirty, divisive, destructive, demon rat Democrat Party.
Absolutely. So yeah, he nails this quite well. It's got 32 million views just on this one clip. So A Star is Born. We're renouncing the Democratic Party. So let's listen to him.
This fucking political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything.
Everything.
They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And
Even
that's
worse,
why I'm
they're
so
doing
angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in, and now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison.
All of you.
We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
There we go. Those are those grassroots activists, like I remember.
That was absolutely fantastic. Blake, that was just so many things that I've wanted to say for so long.
Right. So coming from a black Democrat, this is some powerful stuff. So good on him.
By the way, I got a comment on the Rumble feed from Saturn33 saying that Brad Culpepper, former Bear and Buccaneer, he said that the NFL has been rigged since the late 80s, by the way. Rigged since the late 80s. Right.
I can certainly believe that. And once you get, sports gambling involved, there's all kinds of ways that they can rig games. That's been going on a long time in all the sports, really, to some degree. I mean, I don't know about hockey, but basketball, baseball, of course, football. Unfortunate. But it's entertainment, so you can't take it too seriously. I love gambling on football. It's one of my vices, but I keep it very small, $10, $20. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Like, Dave Portnoy losing $1 million on the Bills game, but then freaking out and calling out Roger Goodell on Twitter because of the BS calls. So you'll drive yourself crazy with those bad beats. So it's something for fun, but don't try to make a living on it, or you're going to really do a lot of frustrations and have some substantial losses.
Speaking of substantial losses, this is from Luke at We Are Change, Luke Radowski. This is the meme I was telling you about. I shared this in our Telegram thread, Blake. But yeah, remembering what happened to the last time we audited the Pentagon, and there's 9/11 in the background of it. So buckle up, people.
$3 trillion.
Here we go. Here's a fun little clip. Whoop, hold on. Here we go.
We're playing cars. All we heard was like a big boom, and then we just were shook and we were like paralyzed and we didn't know what happened, so we went outside and we were like, oh fuck, there's a fire. And then I went to go grab my dad's fire extinguisher, and we were playing cars.
Wow.
That was like when I was on air with Dave Zier at the Libertarian Convention, and I said that Trump was a bullshitter, and you should have seen the look on his face. He's like, how dare you question my unassailable leader, Donald J. Trump. And I clarified the immediate next sentence, but it was done. He was just like, what? You called Trump a bullshitter? I said, the point I'm making, let me clarify. Vivek and Trump are the most talented communicators we have, and they can talk in circles if they choose to. The libertarians just want a binary answer, yes or no. They do not want to hear him and Han. Whatever. I said, oh, fuck, there's a fire. And, once it's out, it's out. Wyatt here saying, austere Wyatt, remember when Joe Biden bragged about withholding that $1 billion loan guarantee to Ukraine in exchange for the prosecutor investigating Burisma to get fired? Remember that? That was USAID. USAID also paid Burisma, who then directly paid Hunter Biden. Blake, holy shit. Can you, holy shit, Blake.
Oh, yeah, it's all getting exposed, so that's good to see.
Gyps Liberty saying the NFL set up their chart. Do you have a link to this? I was trying to find this story the other day when I was talking with Mike Barra and Jim Mitchell about it. I couldn't find the link to, I don't know if you have it, Blake, but Gyps Liberty saying the NFL set up their charter and bylaws to mimic the WWE. They can have a predetermined outcome and hide that outcome, then allow betting anyways, which is 1,000% fake. MLB, NBA, NHL are not set up this way. If you have a link to that, I tried to look it up the other day, but I don't know if that's an urban legend because I've heard it 1,000 times. But when I did a quick search, I couldn't find it.
I think it's on the tickets. I know. I years ago I heard an interview, and it was a guy who wrote a book on how they rig games, and I think he was on Alex Jones' show, and he was talking about that. And he said, if you look at your ticket, you buy a ticket to a football game, and you'll see something in a line, it's for entertainment or something like that, where it's kind of like a disclaimer. Yeah, so you really can't take it too seriously, or it's like prevent them from, getting sued or who knows. There's some loophole, but yeah, you can never really get a clean outcome, unfortunately, when there's too much money involved.
Yeah, I like sports for the competitive nature of it. I don't want fabricated storylines. That's DEI. Didn't earn it. I just want the people to win. I want them to have actually earned it. Speaking of earning it, talking about what you earn and what you get to keep, Packing Patriot says we shouldn't have to owe the IRS jack shit after what Doge has uncovered so far. I agree. Gentry Geevers says Trump is shrinking the size and budgets of the government and giving us more freedom of speech and giving us more access to guns. Worst dictator ever. Here's President Trump. Check this one out. Cutting deals. Trump making moves. Look at this.
Talking about the pipeline.
He's talking that this is with the Japan representative. I'm not sure this gentleman's name, but Trump and the Japan leader. In
Alaska, which is the closest point of major oil and gas to Japan by far. Less than half the distance of any other location. We're talking about a joint venture of some type between Japan and us. having to do with Alaska oil and gas, and that's very exciting. They're very excited about it, so are we. We're talking about the pipe.
Blake, are you getting sick of winning? Like, that's such an obvious thing that you would want to cut that deal and build that partnership and sell the American resources. Like, isn't that, why have we never done this before? This guy is just constantly thinking of ways to make more money and improve and level things up, right? Are you getting tired of winning?
No, not yet. Yeah, they were trying to destroy this country. They're just weakening us, taking our prosperity away, shipping it all overseas, and then we're going to try to absorb us into the globalist collective. That was the plan. And so now we're putting ourselves first, and none of this nonsensical policy in the guise of climate change or whatever. So yeah, it's good to start exporting oil or whatever. We got plenty of that. So use our resources, make deals with the right people.
And I think Greenland, I don't think Greenland's going to become the 51st state. Israel's our 51st state. 52nd state is Israel, Ukraine. 53rd. Anyway, you go down the list, but I don't think we're going to buy Greenland. I think we're going to set up a deal where we can go there and we can mine the resources. President Trump has already told Ukraine, Zelensky, he said, look, for all this money we've been sending, like, we're not giving you this money. We want those rare earth minerals back. I guess a lot of those are in the areas that the Russians have taken the territory over, so that maybe we won't get those. But that's what a president does. We give you all this. Yeah, we're taking the oil. Yeah, we're going to get the rare earth minerals. Yeah, this is a deal. You're not taking free money. Right. That's what it always has been about. It's about, we're going to bribe you, and then we're going to trap you, and then we're going to control you. And if you get in the way, we're going to off you. And it's just, the mob can only make so many enemies before it gets kneecapped. And that's where we're at. We're too far in debt. Too many people hate us, and they're pushing too many lies that are devaluing and lowering our level of our quality of life. If you raise our quality of life, you'll go along with almost anything. But if things keep getting worse, the dollar keeps sinking in value, then people are going to lose their faith in the system. And I think that's why we've needed such a hard Control, Alt, Delete, reset on things. And this is Alina Habba talking with Sean Hannity here about why the Democrats are freaking so much about Elon and Doge. Here we go. We know who the bad actors are. Now we know what to do with them.
Weeks of utter shock, awe, and transformation in Washington, and it has gone at the speed of light. And, thank God for the country. And then you got this freak out. What do you make of it?
I'm not sure what they're freaking out about, to be honest, Sean. I'm pretty sure we stood at rally after rally and said exactly what we were going to do. We were going to protect taxpayer dollars. We were going to help educate our children in the right way who are undereducated. So, Maxine, I'm not sure what you're stepping into, but you need to move out of the way. And we're going to create Doge. We did. And Doge is working. So I have to tell you, I know Elon, and I'm a little bit frustrated, not a little bit, but by what I'm hearing. But the people that are screaming the loudest, Sean, are probably the people that are pissed off because their money train has come to an end. We're done now. Sorry, Chuck. Sorry, Maxine. Sorry, Nancy, with your stock trades. The show's over. We are now looking, and we're going to audit, and we're going to find out what's going on, and we're finding a lot. We've named them over and over again. And by the way, the list is extensive. Operas for transgender LGBTQ people. We're funding condoms. We're funding, things that are unheard of. One was teaching people how to use their pronouns in another country. We spent millions of dollars. This is absurd. We are supposed to take care of taxpayer dollars. And what the last administration did was get rich and waste money. And I'm tired of it.
3 weeks.
Absolutely. It's all coming undone. Here's a different kind of
We live in a time,
or not pastor, here's a different kind of a message, I suppose.
When language is often weaponized and twisted to hide the actual meaning of the words. So
and this is the mantra of the Democrat Party. Once again, back to Jordan Peterson being forced to say certain words, changing the meaning of other words, repeating the word insurrection, even though that's not what happened at that mostly peaceful protest.
The term gender-affirming care means sex-denying mutilation and castration. Women's reproductive rights means the killing of babies. Assisted dying is, properly speaking, enabled murder. Safe and effective has come to mean, as so many have realized through bitter experience, dangerous and mostly useless. The media has become used to creating and shaping the news rather than reporting it. And so the ones who say danger to democracy are precisely the ones who are themselves that very danger. The ones who shout fascism and you are fascist, and indeed the Anti-Fascist League, are the most fascist around. Follow the science means mindlessly following the unverified and questionable. And finally, conspiracy theory often means now the news that is inconvenient to publicize at present, but later will be quietly admitted and then shelved. A striking manifestation of this confusion today is the secular liberal inability to define the word woman and the theologically liberal reluctance to define synodality. We live in a time when
Blake, thoughts on that? I mean, this guy kind of nails a lot of it. That's kind of the gist of what we were saying about so many things have been translated into the opposite of what they actually are.
Yeah, it's out of the playbook for 1984. It's just to mess up our language, change everything around. Oh, I was gonna say,
dude, look,
I a couple of agree or disagree questions that I was like, I don't know if we can use these.
Agree or disagree that any N that don't like Trump is a F. This is a Kanye post. This is Kanye, not a But so I do a couple jokes in my stand-up bit about Kanye. I thought that might have been my best joke. Honestly, it was like probably like the funniest punchline. I had 2 or 3 of them in there. But now with Kanye going off the rails and off his meds again, I think he's so in the news. I'm gonna have to double down and write a few more. Yeah, Kanye selling a new album. What do you got here? Piers Morgan?
That's from Piers Morgan. He's actually calling out Elon Musk. How much more disgustingly hateful, racist, anti-Semitic, violence-inducing stuff from Kanye are you going to allow him to spew on your platform to his 32 million followers? We can make an agree or disagree question on that one too, Brian. Do bitches deserve to get slapped sometimes? Agree or disagree? But people are calling him out for, the censorship. But yeah, it's weird because Piers Morgan's been doing some good work lately. He's got that Uncensored show. They do have some good debates. So I'm kind of surprised. So yay, Kanye is saying some very colorful things, but that's freedom of speech to me. So I don't know. I don't have an issue with it, but there's some things I can't repeat and don't endorse. But
yes, that part. I do have. I met a guy. He's an interesting dude. We're connected on social now. We've dined together. Met this dude a month or 2 ago, and he's in the Ye camp. Like he's there. Like I think his job is selling Ye merch, and like he works with like all sorts of stuff. And yeah, look, Kanye does this every now and then. He's like, all right. How long will it take to get booted off of social media? He's trying to get kicked off. Now, these are my words, not my friends, but I've had conversations with him about this. But like this appears to be like, all right, let's test the boundaries of free speech. What is free speech? Can we say anything that we want? As long as we don't criticize our 51st state? That seems to be like the one guardrail. You cannot do that, right? Even Ron DeSantis. We need speech laws. No, you don't, Ron. You can call people out for being assholes and choose not to associate with them if they continue to be assholes. Speech laws. No, I'm full anomaly on this one. Anomaly in the he's had his issue. Candace Owens. Anybody that criticizes our 51st state. Oh my Lord. But at this point, Blake, the new American media can't be any more censored than we already are. Fuck it. Let it rip. What do I care at this point? Like it's all happening at once. I'm going to be very curious to follow how the Kanye thing develops. And I do have several jokes to write about it for my stand-up next week. Just a couple more here and I'll be done, sir.
It's great to be an American again, Brian. This is a meme I shared.
Hold on. Let me switch back. I just switched it from you. Go back to you. Oh, my bad. There we go.
Yeah.
It is the will of the people to say F and R.
Okay. Anyway. All right.
Yeah. That part. Look, I grew up in the 90s. Those words were just like saying dude.
Yeah. They're a major part of my vocabulary. High school, college, my 20s in Vegas. That was just.
That's how everybody spoke in the 90s. But listen to early Eminem. That's how everybody spoke. And so the people trying to cancel the big balls guy, oh my God. If I were 15 and had Twitter and I was just doing that type of thing, just firing off tweets nonstop, oh my gosh, I'd never be able to have a job again. Paul from Montana says, I watched you both live streaming on J6. You were up on a media tower and reporting everything. I was really surprised about all the fallout way after that. It seemed like a big setup.
Yeah, we had no idea while we were there. But yeah, we started doing that live stream, but then as we got closer to the main event, then you couldn't do anything. You couldn't go on Twitter. It was like a blackout. But yeah, quite a day. And then things got really bad after that.
Yeah, I never had to rinse my eyes from tear gas before. That's a new one. Okay, Elon Musk saying he's responding to Liz. Liz goes, okay, who's she talking to? To Senator. I'm not entirely... Hang on, just because I'm trying to follow the music. I don't want music. Okay, so Liz is talking to Senator, I don't know which one, maybe pick your worst senator. Senator, I'm 60 years old, and I was a proud and obnoxious Democrat my whole life until the party refused to have a fair primary, until it viciously and relentlessly attacked RFK Jr. and his blah, blah, blah. Elon responds and goes, look, the Democrat Party still doesn't realize how many Americans they have alienated with their shady, ironically undemocratic tactics. Against the wishes of their electorate, they stopped Bernie from being the candidate several years ago. Then they trashed RFK very unfairly and then switched Kamala for Biden without even holding a primary. Now they're relentlessly trashing Doge, which is just trying to stop fraud, waste, and abuse of your taxpayer dollars and report back to the public with maximum transparency. It's messed up, right? It's really messed up.
Absolutely.
The way the government works.
And these budgets, this is the All In podcast. When you're Gentry Geevers shared this, the budgets were fake.
A department just basically asked for money from Treasury and they sent it out. We all run businesses. There's a reconciliation process. You have a contract, you issue a PO against it, something comes in, you check that it came in, service is rendered, and then you issue a payable, and then a month later you pay it, right? That doesn't happen in the U.S. government. There is that process is broken. It used to happen. It's broken now. And so literally money's flowing out. I used to ask myself this question: why are the numbers always revised? Why are they always wrong? How can the government know how much money it's spending? Just hit the button on the computer and figure it out. Problem is, that button doesn't exist. We spent time early on. I was at Mar-a-Lago with Elon trying to track through, like, how does the money actually flow? No one could tell us how it actually flows. Where is it going out? People didn't know. And it's totally crazy. And it's the reason
it all goes through Treasury, Antonio? Or can you just explain that to us?
Well, so I will try to explain it to you. I'm not sure I have full command of it. I'm not sure anyone does quite yet. It goes to Treasury ultimately, but it was supposed to flow through the way it was supposed to work. It was changed in the 70s, in 1973. The Nixon administration in 71, let me go back, they came off the gold standard, which allowed deficits. In 73, at the nadir of the Nixon presidency, Congress took away from the presidency the executive power, this thing called apportionments, which was the power of the executive to stop spending. So Nixon was abusing it by stopping things he didn't want, and so Congress took it away from him. What that means today is the executive, as he reaches in, it's very hard to just stop payments.
And so that's what's been going on. They just set up a system, Blake, where they're just paying everybody and nobody's checking any of it. You wonder how we're 36 trillion in debt. Nothing could run this way, the way that they've been doing it.
No, I agree. It's been going on for too long. They've just kind of normalized it. And here we are. Brian, I'm surprised you didn't know the Rainbow Connection. I just wanted to show this from my YouTube that I actually, if you can see that red line on the bottom of that video, I have watched this before in my history.
You've watched this before?
Oh yeah, it's kind of a funny classic song. And yes, Debbie Harry and Kermit the Frog singing the Rainbow Connection. Yeah, that's like my era. I grew up with the Muppet Show. That was actually really good.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
I'm surprised you didn't know that song.
Not off the top of my head. I'll have to watch it.
I'll send it to you. All right, because we can't play it because God forbid.
I know. All we would be doing is advertising a 40-year-old show for someone to go watch or go click the link and they'll make their. We would advertise it for more money to come in, and they would hate it. Thank you. All right, cool. Thank you for sending me that one. Yeah, it was suggested, but I do have to do my Kermit impression. I'm going to do it again with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
he talks really weird. Okay, this was something that interesting that happened on the floor. Nick Sorter reporting this. They're quotationing transgender congressman who is throwing a fit over not being able to use women's bathrooms just got introduced using his real sex on the House floor. Here you go.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Delaware, Mr. McBride, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When I was elected,
They're absolutely totally confused.
Right there, it says, gentleman from Delaware, Mr. McBride. Sarah McBride is actually Tim McBride cosplaying as a woman. And Nick says the golden age doesn't include these clowns. Blake, where is the appropriate line between not playing these games anymore and having compassion and, not being a dick? What did they say on Bill Maher? Don't be an asshole. So how do we not be an asshole, but not play along with an alternate reality that I'm not buying into? I'm not participating. I'm not going to be saying things that are incorrect. Where is the line between not being an asshole, but being honest about things?
That's a tough call, and I don't know if I would be qualified to give a response because I'm just, I'm a free speech absolutist like Elon. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to be a jerk to some of these people, but I mean, when somebody's this is sort of a mental illness thing, and this is as a man identifying as a woman, but then also using the women's restroom. I get how people like Nancy Mace would be creeped out by that, and we shouldn't normalize that. And if they need to call it out on the floor, let them do it. That's not my issue, but that would be interesting if we can find that line. But it's been pushed too far the other way for too long, and now they're pushing back aggressively now, and that's fine. It's all fair game.
Yeah, it's called
blowback. Be real, whatever. Or just say, hey, you know what? I identify. Yeah, I'm a male. I got a penis, but I like using the women's restroom. Be on it. But we're all gonna play along with this on how you identify. It doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, Dave Chappelle said, I'm all for I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, people can do what they want, whatever. It's not really something but to what degree am I supposed to participate in your delusions? To what degree am I supposed to participate in your play? You can't make me you do you, but you can't tell me, get in my face, get in my way, tell me the way things are going to be. That's the Jordan Peterson. You're not going to compel speech. You will not compel me to use certain speech. JR Girl saying the Rainbow Connection. That's her a favorite of hers. All right, I got to watch it
for everybody. It's a classic.
I wonder if we should play a couple seconds of it. All right, here's Poso and Bannon on Rav talking about what Doge is doing and what it's doing to demolish the enemy right now.
Absolutely totally confused. They don't know which way to go. They don't know what to focus on. They're starting to feel sorry for themselves. This is when you put more pedal, no brake. You keep going. Even if you're going to have some screw ups, right? Even if you think you need to slow down for logistics, we need more lawyers, we need more of this. The answer is no. You just keep going. You pop up in another agency tomorrow. You go into the Pentagon and you flood the zone with. You bring 100 of those programmers and get all over it. Jack, I know you got to bounce. You're taking the Saturday morning. Final thoughts on maneuver warfare and what you're seeing so far in Doge's assault on the institutions.
Well, Steve, that's exactly what it's about. It's about continuing to fire on all fronts. It's about continuing to stupefy the enemy. It's about treating this as what it is, a hostile takeover of the American government away from people who do not have patriotism in their hearts and replacing it with people who love this country. It's as simple as that, recognizing the political opposition for what they are and treating them, by the way that they have treated us for the last 12 years.
Yes. Blake, that makes sense. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Just treat them the way that they've been treating us, right? That's only fair. That's why Biden lost his security clearance, because they pulled that shit on Trump.
Yeah.
Kristi Noem in FEMA talking about what happened here. She's got things under control.
President Trump came in and visited this community and in less than 20 days secured over $54 million for families in need and registered 2,600 families that needed assistance and hadn't gotten that type of help to get signed up for the programs that we have. In the past 5 days, we've decreased the number of open cases by almost 80%. President Trump is ensuring that communities aren't forgotten, and he launched the first major initiative to connect farmers with recovery assistance as well. Today, I had the chance to spend some time with Mark, who's a micro farmer in this area, and to talk about some of the FEMA programs that he's been able to utilize that have been incredibly helpful. President Trump came in.
I mean, Blake, I said all we needed was a leader who actually cared. Never vote Democrat again. I mean, the difference in response time and the difference in give a shit is so obvious, right?
Definitely.
Here's how it started. Here's how it's going. It started with this person who wanted to swim against ladies.
Yeah, there's a penis in the locker room. Yeah, ridiculous. That was the insanity. It's the peak insanity of the mental illness is a fully intact male pretending to be a female and dominating their sports.
And there she is, Riley Gaines.
Who was cheated out of her rightful championship or what have you.
But in a way, had she won that championship, that would have been cool. But look what she's been able to do now. Sometimes you can be so much greater recovering from a setback, like we would never know her name. Like this has launched her into places that she never anticipated. And like that's kind of like how we all run our lives. A setback can turn into the greatest thing ever sometimes. So just keep pushing. This one here, just a couple quick more, and we will wrap up today's Agree to Disagree show. Thank you, everybody. Hit like, hit subscribe. This one here, look at this list look at these faces. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. Is that Chucky Schumer? Pelosi? Anyway, this one just says, breaking, President Trump calls for an investigation to find out who in the government has been receiving kickbacks.
It's
USAID. And this thing, Joe Rogan, it sums it up real nicely here. If you're still having a hard time understanding USAID, just take a listen. Joe was just like a lot of us. We didn't really even know the organization a couple of days ago, and now we're instant experts. But we kind of have to be for self-preservation's sake.
It's this USAID thing that's going on. Mike Benz has been on that like a pit bull, and I've been following him on X, and he's going to come back on here and kind of explain everything. But he explained it the last time he was here, and I don't think I really grasped it until Elon's 6 wizards. He brought in some young wizards to go in there and go over the books, and they are just finding shit. It's great, and it's so interesting. I was listening to a left-wing podcast today. I like to mix it up. I listen to all kinds of different stuff, and it was like I was listening to a different world. Like, they weren't even talking about all of this corruption and all this obvious buying of influence. Instead, they were talking about aid overseas and how people are going to starve. And I'm like,
it's mind-boggling, and there's also, I have to say, I'm upset at the general pattern of a failure to recognize how right those of us who hypothesized that there was a racket that had overtaken our entire governance structure, we turn out to be absolutely right about this, and no one's going to mention it. That's mind-blowing.
It's very strange that the media is ignoring it, especially the left-wing media. It's just too big of a win for the right, and so they're just ignoring it. And then they're just highlighting the good things that USA did, which I'm sure it probably did. Probably had to do some good things to at least justify its existence.
As a cover story, I'm not even sure.
As a cover.
Maybe it doesn't change anything. Obviously, this was a mechanism used to funnel money to all sorts of things that we didn't vote on, that don't make sense in light of our constitutional structure. And I obviously have concerns like everybody else about where this train takes us, but seeing that structure broken up it's a huge relief.
They gave $27 million to the George Soros Prosecutor Fund.
Oh my God.
So our own government is...
Blake, our own government has been destroying our cities intentionally. How else could we view that other than treason? Like these are attacks. Places like Los Angeles where we lived, it was the same handful of people causing 95% of the problems, but the district attorneys funded by USAID to Soros to put in their puppets, they would never help the citizens of those communities. I can't tell you how much stress that caused me in the neighborhood of 25 buildings I was tasked to represent and try to help that neighborhood. We're actively trying to destroy this country. Any idea why? I still struggle with why. Why? Like, why?
I don't get it either. This is the greatest country that's ever had, and some people want to change it. They have their own agenda. They don't like that there's this sort of freedom. They love power and control, and they didn't get their way, and they just can't. They can't tolerate it. So they're just control freaks. Who knows? They're anti-American. They're anti-human.
Okay, yes, I think they are anti-human. I've heard that phrase bandied about a lot lately.
Funding this left-wing lunatic who is hiring the most insane prosecutors who are letting people out of jail who commit violent crimes.
And that's exactly how this racket worked, is that the ability to tax the American public and then effectively get us to pay for being propagandized, for being surveilled. That's the game. And I don't know what era we currently live in. Obviously, there's a lot that's confusing about what the Trump administration is up to.
We're called the Golden Age.
But I don't think any reasonable person could be unhappy that we are exiting that era.
I'm going to read off some of the things that this guy Kennecoda the Great on Twitter.
Kenneco is a great account to follow.
It's
all right, just two more and we're done here. This is just breaking. Elon Musk and Doge have now gained access to FEMA, Blake. If you had to guess, where do you think FEMA funds went? If you could write tomorrow's headline. We've heard about trans operas to Siberia and sex change operations on iguanas or whatever the hell they're doing. What do you think they're doing with FEMA? Where do you think that FEMA money to help Americans at a time of crisis, where would you guess? Write tomorrow's headline. Where do you think that money went to?
Well, I think they already called it out before, and we just didn't have the exact accounting, but that they were using those funds to house illegal immigrants in hotels or giving them aid. I'm guessing is that where most of it went.
Damn it, you're right.
We'll find out.
Thank you, Mr.
I really think you are right. This is the last one, and we are done for today.
Chief Justice.
Yeah, let me play it open.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's keep an eye on Schiff for good reason. He's at the top of the list of people that need to be prosecuted, indicted, and charged with treason.
Chief Justice, members of the Senate, Leader McConnell, Democratic Leader Schumer. It's also my privilege to represent the President of the United States before this chamber. Senator Schumer said earlier today that the eyes of the founders are on these proceedings. Indeed, that's true. But it is the heart of the Constitution that governs these proceedings. And what we just heard from Manager Schiff, courts have no role, privileges don't apply. What happened in the past, we should just ignore. In fact, Manager Schiff just said, try to summarize my colleague's defense of the president. He said, not in those words, of course, which is not the first time Mr. Schiff has put words into transcripts that did not exist. Mr. Schiff also talked about a trifecta. I'll give you a trifecta. During the proceedings that took place before the Judiciary Committee, the president was denied the right to cross-examine witnesses. The president was denied the right to access evidence. And the president was denied the right to have counsel present at hearings.
That's a trifecta. A trifecta that violates the Constitution of the United States. Mr. Schiff did say the courts really don't have a role in this. Executive privilege, why would that matter? It matters because it's based in the Constitution of the United States. Thank you, Mr.
Anyway, maybe that was not the video I was hoping for. It was less compelling than I thought. But that's Jay Sekulow. And I'm having these visions of finally indicting the traitors for treason. People like Adam Schiff and Pelosi and the ones that ran this whole insurrection thing, that God, they're guilty as sin, up to their eyeballs in bullshit. I cannot wait for the indictments to start happening for the people that were literally, legitimately causing all of this criminality in our country. $10 million for a private party at John Cougar's FEMA camp. There's something in there too. There's John Cougar FEMA camp. Okay, there's something in there. Blake, thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good about the state of the nation. President Trump will be at the Super Bowl. So, I mean, this is the #1 target in the world right now. It is the place, and it has the most Secret Service ever. I mean, it's going to be a humdinger. What are your predictions? Any guess of what? Any surprises coming out? Any future headlines? Your prediction on the game was what again?
Chiefs
by.
Oh, I don't know by how many. I don't know if they're going to cover. I'm probably just take them on the money line.
Money line, straight up.
If it's a 1 point, I don't want to lose by half a point. I'm not going to put that much. Probably $25 or something. I think that if it is rigged, it's definitely going to go the Chiefs' way. So
I'm going to say Eagles are going to win. I think they're going to put a whooping on them. I think they're going
to really. You think
I do
win and whoop
and cover? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I watched the Eagles score 7 rushing touchdowns in this playoff run. They do have playmakers at wide receiver. Jalen Hurts can throw it, but they kind of don't need to. And their defense is good. The Kansas City offense is very gettable. They're gettable.
Yeah, their offense isn't that great, but their defense is pretty good. That's what keeps them in the games. So I don't know.
We will find out, won't we?
Sure will.
All right. Blake, that's all I have for now. You are at TV's Blake Walley on X. You are at thenextlevelnews.com for your archive. You have been putting out solo projects called The Eccentric Perspective.
Yeah, Eccentric Perspective.
Rebooting the franchise, Eccentric Perspective.
Bringing it back. Yeah, I did it for 3 years, from 2011 or 20 to 14, something like that. So...
Yep, I was like all of you in the comments section. I was working a sales job, and I'd be making phone calls, and God, is it tedious. It's just whatever. I mean, it's everything to not just swallow a barrel and squeeze the trigger to end the hellish facade that your life has become.
Over and over. Right.
It's a lot of phone calls and emails, and it's just a lot of banging your head up against the wall.
Phone calls are even more fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I would sit there and listen to Eccentric Perspective, and I'd type comments, and occasionally I'd call in with a comment or two, and that was fun. Those were the good old days. So yeah, check out Blake's show, Eccentric Perspective. And of course, you're on every Tuesday for Toxically Masculine Tuesday. That is at 9 o'clock with Mike Barra and Trail Boss Steve Doran and Dr. Brooks Agnew. It's the best round table on the internet. What do you call it?
Yeah, best round table on the internet, on the net.
There you go. So follow Blake in all of those places. I appreciate you, sir. Thanks for joining me today. Good times. And
thanks, Brian.
Maybe we'll be back Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. And to be continued. Thank you, sir. Enjoy the rest of your
joke. You too. Evening. All right. Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Heck yeah.
Go Chiefs. Not really, but all right.
All right. Take care. Fly, Eagles, fly.
All right. That's all I got. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Blake Walley, everybody. Blake Walley. Blake, they call him. Thank you, everyone, for watching the program. However you're watching, hit like, hit subscribe, share the content. Grab a show, copy it, and send it to 5 or 10 of your smart friends. And be like, hey, we watched this show. It'd be cool if you watched it live with us. They're live all the time. Like, this is the way we can grow. And, of course, Blake left that one on the screen there. Okay. If you like the New American Media, like some of you do, and have graciously donated to us over the years, thank you so much. Some of you are in this chat right now. You know who you are, and thank you so much. We're on patreon.com/the New American Media. could sign up for like $5 a month. I got $5 a month to spare. No biggie. We'll just set it and forget it. But like that stuff adds up. It accumulates. And, look, if you're doing everything right, what is the bare minimum it costs to live a month? $5,000? Like, I mean, groceries and insurance and then insurance and then insurance and then insurance and then mortgage and then insurance and then insurance and then insurance. It's like your auto and your health and this and that. It all adds up. So anyone that's loving the show, that's a way you could support it. Also, we're on Venmo at Brian Engelman, PayPal at Fuzz Installment, and Cash App Brian Engelman. Those things are there. We have our Facebook page, The New American Media, and TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show private group. That group is awesome. Kenneth, I think you're in the Facebook group for the Agree to Disagree Show. The rest of you should type in TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. TNAM being The New American Media, of course. We have 1,700 videos and 14 years of content. YouTube.com/@TheNewAmericanMedia. By the way, I'm putting these all at the bottom of the screen, and you can reference them later if you wanted to go check them out and or contribute. But yeah, YouTube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. We are building our numbers back up, hoping to regain monetization over there. I know it's a pointless battle with those ass clowns, but I'm going to keep trying. I envision a world where one day soon I can also earn an income doing what I love, because I think I'm good at it. I think I'm educational. I think I'm informative. I think I'm entertaining. I think I'm timely. I think I'm a good navigator of the software tools needed to produce this show every day. And yeah, I would like to do this full time, but I'm not going to take dirty money to lie to you like the people at some of those other networks. And yeah, trying to do it my way. I did it. So yeah, there it is, our Rumble account. We are monetized on Rumble. Please like our, we have a profile, but we also have a channel. The channel is the one that you have super chats. People can like do a super chat and make contributions and leave your comments and stuff. But just watching the videos and watching the advertisements, if you let those play for a minute or two, it's like tossing a couple pennies in the wishing well. So Rumble is maybe the place we love to share our content the most because we're monetized there. Whereas we like X, The New American Media is at American_media_, but we have to pay to use X, $7 a month or something like that. We're not earning on X yet. So, I like the platform, but at least Rumble pays us. And it's not a lot. It's a couple pennies a day, honestly. It hasn't accumulated enough to even qualify for the payout function yet. But it is a couple of bucks. It is a couple of pennies each day. But hoping that these will, with compound interest, these videos over time, the channel will start earning some revenue. But yeah, check out the Rumble channel over there. And our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, is on Spotify. We put the TNAM AM shows up on our Spotify account under the umbrella of the Agree to Disagree Show. Yeah, we've been doing live shows in the mornings, which is pretty cool. Oh, how do we do there we go. Yeah, we do the live shows in the morning. TNAM AM show. I've been enjoying those a lot. So check those out as well. Yeah, on X. I think that's all I wanted to. I guess we're on Truth Social as well. Follow The New American Media on Instagram and Facebook. All those stories that I showed you, the clips that I played at the end, once we got through our first segment, those were all posts that we made on our Instagram channel. So if you follow our Instagram feed, those top 20 stories, you're going to get caught up on a lot of what's happening in the news really quick. It's a great way to just skim and bounce. You get the quick version in a couple minutes, and then if you watch the show, you'll get the full elaborated version. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you who watched today's program, and Blake Walley and everybody else. We are the New American Media because the old American media has failed you. So we built a better mousetrap. Folks, thank you so much. Go Eagles. Strongly go Eagles. I'm not rooting for them as much as I am against the Chiefs, but I can find a way. I like Saquon Barkley and I like Jalen Hurts. So go Eagles. I think they were robbed in the last Super Bowl. It'd be great to get some payback. Vengeance, justice. See, justice feels better than payback or vengeance or retribution. It's justice. If we felt they were rigged, if they were cheated, maybe the Eagles can make up for it this time. Fingers crossed. I'm pulling for them. All right, signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you.